could tell you if you gave me if you're when your kid turns 18, if you gave me $135,000, I would put them in this program where over the next 4 years, I would need 4 years from your kid. I would need about $136,000 from you. There's about 52 to 56% chance that they're going to make it. But if they make it, they'll be able to make $52 to $55,000 a year. Who, by a show of hands, would go for that? You guys, so you guys want that for your kids. Ray, you don't want that for your kid, man. Ray, listen to what I'm saying, guys. Look, give me your kid and give me $136,000. Only 50-something percent of them are going to make it. But if they do, they'll be on a track where over the next 40 years, they'll be chasing somebody else's dream, and they'll make. Look, let me just show you. Let me just show you the data. This is real data. Now, why ain't they teaching us this in school here? Look, for most recent available data, the average total cost for a year of college at a 4-year school, including tuition, fees, on-campus room and board, books, supplies, and expenses, was $146,000 now. Putting these kids in debt at a young age. And I'm a firm believer of debt, just not this debt right here. So let's go over here and see what happens, right, to these kids. On average, 52% of them are going to make it. 52%. It's not what I want for my kid. What are they going to earn, though, if they make it through? On average, 2022 was 52 grand for a bachelor's degree. Now in Ohio, man, we crushing it. My kid can make $56,000. To put this in perspective, my 17-year-old kid just got his first property under contract. A lot of you guys have been seeing the progress my son's making. And here's his sheet here. Here's his budget he put together. This is the budget here. Now, I know he has a cell in here that's collapsed. Let me see if I can open this cell up here. I'm going to show you guys something. The actual budget here, I should be line C maybe? No, probably D. I don't know. It's got all these. Maybe he erased that. But the actual cost of all this stuff here that he's getting done for $51,000, retail cost, if we were to call a company, is 120 grand. He's 17 years old. He got this property under contract for $70,000. He has a 16-day timeline to finish it. Bought it for 70. I gave him my credit cards to buy this property with. So no money. I did what's called credit card stacking, which we got some information on how to do that. This is one of the things we teach our academy students to do. And you got to have somebody that knows which cards to go after. These are business cards that won't show up in your personal name. There's an app called Plastic, Plastiq, that you use these 0% cards on. And he was able to buy this, put in a credit card. Now, there's a 2.5% fee. But if you're getting a loan, you're paying 2.5, 3 points, maybe even more. So there's no interest on this. The $70,000 that he used to purchase this. Here's where he's at. He closed last week. He's about a week in. He has the trash out done. His budget was $3,600. He's at $3,071. Variances, he's got $528 left. He's 90% of the way done. He's going to hit that budget. Foundation, we find out tomorrow. I got one of my guys coming over to inject some cracks with epoxy. He's probably good there. Framing, he's over. See this here? He's over on that. Roof, we came in under budget. Actually, this is $4,061, I think. I got the actual invoice in, so let me change that. So $4,061, let me change that for him. And it just, long story short, I'm not going to go through and change all this. He also has a 20% contingency, which will put him at $63,000 budget. Right now, he's pacing at 53,483. His initial budget for renovation, soft costs, closing costs, holding costs was 80,000. But since he doesn't have to pay any debt on the property, it's going to be 70,000. He's all in on this property for he'll be right around 140, 142 probably, you know, and so the property reappraises at $289,000. So he's going to be up $140,000, $150,000 in equity before he even turns 18 on November the 28th. By the time the kids get out of school, that he went to, by the time they get out of college, the kids he went to school with, Caden will likely be a multimillionaire. And why is that? He's not going to college. Heck, I don't even know if he's going to finish high school. I know some of you guys might be saying, that's crazy, man. He can't even get a job at McDonald's. Well, good. You know, quite honestly, good. He was in honors. He got straight A's. He's got one class left this year. And school started last week. He's been to school one time. He's working on this project, right? Why many kids are struggling to keep their grades up so they can get into a quote unquote good college. I mean, it's crazy the amount of information that our kids are just not given. So when I asked Caden, he said he's going to do 2 properties this year, which if he was holding them, he can't hold the first property because he's not old enough to get a mortgage unless I co-sign for him. So I might do that. It's a DSCR loan too, no doc loan, but unless he's 18, he can't do that. But I might do that and have him keep it and burr it instead, which he'll be able to pull about 216,000 out of. He'll be in it for 140. So he'll get 76,000 cash out. After closing costs, he'll probably get 70,000. He'll probably have another $5,000 or $6,000 in closing cost on that loan. He'll have 70,000 out, tax-free. The home will cash flow at probably about a 1.2 debt service coverage ratio, which means that after all the expenses are paid, including the mortgage, he'll still have, let's say the mortgage is, $12,000. He'll still have an extra 20% of that. No, the mortgage is going to be closer to $14,000. He'll have close to another 20% left on top of that, which will be $2,800. That'll be his yearly cash flow. And I know what you guys are saying, man, that's not much money. And you're right, that's not. But he gets to 30 of these properties over the next 5 years. Here's where the money starts to kick in. He's got 30 of these, making $2,800 a year. But remember, you raise rent every year. And expenses go up every year too. But the expenses may be 42% of the property. So only 42% of the property is going to have an increase expense-wise. 42% of the income is going to have an increase. But 100% of the income is going to have an increase when you put, let's say, a 5% yearly growth rent or 4% yearly growth rent. And so how do we know that this works? Because we go back, we look at historical data. And when we look at this historical data over here, here's what happens to house prices over time. They just climb and they climb and they climb and they climb. Why do they climb? Now, you see, they've come down a little bit since COVID, but that's okay. We're not buying $400,000 properties and burning them. That's not what we do. What we're looking to do is find this low-hanging fruit over here and, create opportunity through debt. Not bad debt like college debt. And college debt maybe not all be bad. And here's what I tell young kids, man. If you want to go to college, go become a millionaire first. Then go to college. Because once you go to college and you get committed to that degree, man, it's hard to get out of that rut. And so anybody in here, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. Anybody in here, if I could show you how to retire in 5 years on paper, would you do it? Now, listen, guys, what we're talking about is $14,000 to $18,000 a month in passive income. We're talking about another $20,000 a month in appreciation. We're talking another $3,000 to $5,000 a month in principal reduction. So you're bringing in almost $40,000 a month. You're growing your net worth. You got cash coming in. You're paying little to no taxes on that money that's coming in. Does anybody in here know why? Anybody in here go to college? Did they teach you this stuff in college? Why?
John says you don't pay taxes on a loan.
No, no, no. We're not talking about a loan. We're talking about the cash flow from the property. We're talking about the cash flow from a property. All the cash flow that 15,000 a month he's bringing in. Why? Yes, because of depreciation. Depreciation, guys. So why is this not taught in school? Because they're not teaching people in school to become wealthy. They're teaching you to become workers. Now, it's okay, John. Look, man, nobody's right or wrong here. I'm just here to give you guys game. I've done over $500 million worth of this stuff. I've helped over 100 people become millionaires showing them this. And my passion is to help you because when you get into, you start looking at your life. It's like, what do you want to do with your life? Me, I want to create a legacy. Well, what's a legacy? A legacy is not giving to others, like not giving money to others. That's not a legacy. A legacy is giving people information that they can share, that they can change their life, then they can change their kids' life, then they can change, their kids' life. I grew up poor. I went to a children's home when I was a kid. I went to prison when I was a kid, selling drugs, trying to figure it out. That was normal for me where I grew up. It wasn't like that was the normal. That's kind of just what you did, right? That's what you seen everybody who was getting money doing. So I naturally acclimated to doing the same thing, which landed me in prison at the age of 18. I got out. I wasn't very good at selling drugs. I went right back. I was out 57 days and caught another case. Then the rest of my 20s, I sold weed, 300 pounds at a time, 330 pounds at a time. I made a lot of money. I was making about $242,000 in profit every trip. Sometimes I'd do a trip every week. So the money was never hard for me, but learning how to become legit was really hard. So I was 29, man. I cried out to God and just was like, my whole life is a lie. And so the struggles that a lot of you've been through, I've been there, beating your head up against a wall, trying to figure out what am I going to do. At 29 years old, I didn't have a wife. I didn't have kids. That's what I wanted. I couldn't do that with being a drug dealer. I might go back. And if I went back, I was doing 10 or 20. I wasn't doing 3 months. So I just cried out to God, man. I felt like I screwed my whole life up and I had millions of dollars, no happiness, no peace. Imagine that. Right. And so the reality is that money will not make you happy, but having financial security will allow you to have a lot more peace in life. And that's what I've experienced. After I did that, I ran at properties, man. I was always a hustler. So my first year, I did 13 properties. I pulled out over $300,000 in cash out refis. And I went to my accountant, Chuck Vonderhaar, if anybody knows him, rest in peace. He died last year. But, I took in all my paperwork. I mean, I didn't have Excel spreadsheets. I had stuff written down, notes, HUDs. And I thought I was going to pay taxes on this $300,000 something dollars. And he said, Nate, you don't have to pay taxes on this. He laughed at first. And I thought, boy, I'm in trouble. He said, that's a loan. You don't pay taxes on loans. And I said, hold on, man, let me get this right. I was burned back then. This was like 05, 04. I stopped selling drugs in 04, August the 14th of 2004, to be exact. And my first year, I did 13 properties. I was just really good at construction management and knowing numbers. And some of you guys may not be good at that, and that's what I teach people, like what they should be doing. And so from 2005 to about 2010, I got up to 250 units. I was listening to poor people advice. I was listening to financial consultants, and they were saying, you need to diversify. And so I went and I diversified. I went and bought a junkyard. I went and bought 2 industrial buildings. I was just expanding without a clear plan and vision on what to do. I went and had a bar and grill. The reality is I was all over the place. because you don't really need to diversify if you understand and control the risk. If you understand what risk you have. Now, nobody could have foresaw what happened in 2008. A lot of people got skinned. And I could have gave up. I went bankrupt. I lost everything. Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I lost everything. And when I look back, I didn't even have anything to sell with all them illicit funds that I made. I didn't even have anything to sell, man. I just felt like I was a complete failure. I didn't have a college degree. And at that time I was like, man, if I would at least got a college degree, I would have had something to fall back on. So came out of bankruptcy in June of 13. December 27th of 2015, we left Ohio, went to Florida. I had enough money to retire, 30 months. And I realized that most people, and I was at that time, I was 30. What was I, 30? No, I was just turned 40. Was I 40? No, I wasn't 40. I was born in 75, 85, 95. I was 40 years old. 40 years old. So that was 9 years ago. Since then, I bought hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate. I learned how to do this stuff in and out, like from the ground up. Not like I got a college degree and came in and ran a company. Like I learned how to find properties. I learned how to renovate properties. I did the leasing. I built out the management company. I built out the construction company. I dealt with the banks. I dealt with the evictions. I dealt with the turnovers. I built out systems and processes for everything. I started my own management company, maintenance company, leasing division. Everything was vertical integration for us because that's all I knew. I just looked at things like, man, why are they charging that much money, man? That's only going to take, 4 guys like a week to do. Why do they want $20,000 for that? I'll just go get 4 guys and manage them myself. And that's why I became so good. And I know my numbers about everything in construction related to residential, even like 100, 200, 500 units. They're easy to analyze because all the floor plans are pretty much the same. You got one kitchen, you got them all. You know what the plumbing is, you know what the electric is, you know what the roof is, you know what the structure is made of, over and over and over again. And so, I just really learned that there was a different way in America. And I'm shocked that we don't teach it to people. But I understand now that I almost say they don't care about people. They care about you guys becoming part of the system and working that system for the people that learn how to play the game of capitalism. The people that learn how to play the game of capitalism learn how to leverage debt. And I went to Europe for about a month in June. And when I came back here, I just realized like how beautiful America was. Now I've traveled before, but I never went to Europe and came back. And it's like so expansive, so much opportunity, just beautiful. And so this roadmap that I got that I show and teach people, man, is if you dive into it, it's heavily related to the way that the U.S. economy works and the devaluation of currency. We devalue the currency by making more of it, which you make more of anything and you tend to devalue it unless there's enough supply to eat it up. Well, there's people that are eating up US dollars. 70 something percent of all trade across the world happens in US dollars. That's changing and that'll change over time. I don't think it's not going to happen overnight because it's the swift system that we need to operate and transact back and forth. So I won't get in all that unless you guys want me to. If you have some questions about that, you can ask me. But here's what I realized that with even my students, and I was on the phone with Tico earlier, and he was had 4 units when he got in the academy, and he had been buying properties for years. He was working, making 90 to 100,000 a year, doing all kinds of overtime, and he got in the academy with 4 properties, and within 17 months, he had enough to retire. Right now, he didn't think he did because he was like, "Man, I got I ain't gonna tell you how much cash flow he had, but he had a decent amount, but he needed more. He needed 24, 25,000 more." I said, "Dude, how much equity have you created in these 17 months?" And he looked at it and it's 1.2 million. I said, bro, in part-time, you've created 1.2 million in equity. Working full-time, you're making 90 to 100,000 a year. And he just said, I never looked at it that way. I said, go borrow some of that money to subsidize your income for the next couple of years. And he ended up quitting his job, a job that he probably thought he would be at for. Now, Tico was a believer that he was going to make it out. He just didn't know how. And so I'm very proud of Tico. He's taken a lot of time off since he really quit at the end of 22. He quit December of 22. He took off most of 23, traveled with his family. I mean, he does deals here and there. But today he said, Nate, I'm rested up, man. I'm ready to go back at it. And so that's the great thing about real estate is that once you get this passive income, and I'll dive into the numbers in a minute, and I'm going to dive into the guy that was flipping properties. Is he still on here? What was his name?
I believe so. I have to find it again.
I'm going to show you guys real quick. I love showing you guys math because math doesn't lie. So he's flipping properties. He's buying them for 100. He's putting 50 in, let's just say, and they're worth 200 grand, right? That's the standard, standard flip right there. Let's say he pays realtor fees of 6% and 1% closing cost, concession fees. So he's capturing 93% of that, right? So here's what he's getting: 186,000. He pays off his $150,000 he had in debt. It's got 36 grand. Say you pay taxes, say you're paying 30% short-term capital gains, you're probably going to be higher, but let's just say it's 30%. It's what you're left with. Do 30 of these here. Here's what you're left with. You guys like that? Is that the goal? Is that what you guys are after? You guys happy with $756,000? Yes, no? Sherry Walker says, hell yes. Yes, yes. Got a bunch of yeses. Okay. It might take you 5 years to get that done. Let's say you're living off 60 grand a year. You got another 400 grand left, right? You're going to eventually run out of money. You're going to have to go keep flipping properties. And now that is a skill that my partner Jarius will be on here if he ain't already. Skill that he's done about 1,000 of these properties, right? And it's not the cash flow that you're after either, guys. And let me show you what could happen if instead of flipping those properties, you do what I show you how to do with the Burr method. And you need about 50,000 to start this. Now, if you don't have the money, but you get the skill set, people are partnering with you. So for me, when I was bankrupt, came out of bankruptcy, I had a 400 credit score, 400 something credit score. I didn't have no money. I didn't have no tax returns. I mean, I did. They were negative, though. Negative's not necessarily bad, but mine were bad negative. Even if you added back in my depreciation, I couldn't borrow money. I was unlendable. And I knew I was going to be for a few years. But I knew plenty of people that had money who wanted to invest. And I just had to be honest with them and say, hey, guys, I went bankrupt, man. I got the skills. They said, Nate, why'd you go bankrupt? The thing about people with money, wealthy people, a lot of times, most of them have went bankrupt or really close because these are the people that are out here pushing it, right? They're not going the standard way. I got a neighbor of mine that lives right across the water from me. He ended up selling this company, one of them for 171 million. But he said, Nate, man, he was 27. He was living in a trailer park and he started this pharmaceutical company up. And he said, man, there were 15 times I almost was down to losing everything. One time he said he was going to take his life because he had a $10 million insurance policy. So, you got to push through. I'm not telling you that this is for the faint of heart. It's not. But what I'm here to tell you is that it is for those people that are willing to push through, follow the system and the process. There's still going to be challenges, but you're going to learn to overcome them challenges because you're going to be focused on the big picture goal. The big picture goal is financial freedom. You could do it in 5 years. Sometimes it might take 7. I was with a guy yesterday he drove all the way from West Virginia to come in. We were having a meetup, and he's a lineman, electrical lineman, and he joined in 21 too, and he's at 7 units. And he said, "Man, I got to get moving, man. I got to get moving." That 5 year, I said, "Hey, man, that 5 years is just an arbitrary number. Just get to your 30 units." I said, "What's your net worth?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Well," he told me one property. He said, "Well, I owe 65,000 on it. It's worth 200." I said, "You got 135,000 right there. You got six more properties. I need you to figure out what your net worth is, brother. You may be close to being a millionaire on paper, but a millionaire on paper doesn't mean anything. It's not financial freedom. So don't feel like you have to meet the 5 year mark. Some people will do it in two. My son will probably do it in two. But that's because he has a system around him and he has a community or private community. Like I haven't been giving him a lot of stuff. I said, "Nah, man, you got to go out here and ask people in our community, in our private community." He's asking them, "Man, do you got a plumber? Do you got this? Do you got that?" And so I want him to feel that pain. And he came home. He said, "Man, Dad, this stuff's it's harder. It's harder to make money than I thought." I said, "Yeah." I said, when you've never had to work for money, you always think it's easy to make money. But the truth of the matter is, he'll be fine. He'll make it through. But let's say that same $200,000 property. See, properties. Let's just say they're bringing in an 8% return a year. That's after all your expenses. And here I'll run through a little bit more. $16,000. So let's say this property rents for $2,000 a month. Oops, not 20,000. 2,000 a month times 12. Okay. So let's say that the taxes are, let's say let's say vacancy is 6%. So we'll run it at a 94. That's going to give you 22,560. Let's say taxes are, $2,000 a year. Let's say that your maintenance is $70 a unit per month minus 840. Let's say that your insurance is $1,200 a month. Let's say that your management fees are another, 1,000 a year. I know you're probably going to manage it yourself. And let's say that you got your turnovers, that in 30 months you're going to have a turnover. You're going to have to release it. You're going to have to pay the gas and electric, the water, the sewage, the trash, the landscape, and the maintenance while sitting there vacant. And let's say that you're also going to have to set aside some reserves to do the turnover. Let's just say altogether that's another $1,500. Okay. That's going to put you at roughly that $16,000 that I told you guys are going to have, which is about an 8% return. Now, keep in mind what's happening. You're only borrowing $150,000. So let me just pull up my sheet here and see what this looks like. If I go and I just borrow, let's say, $150,000 over here. It's not going to let me change this number. It's pretty close though, 75%, 6.5%. I'm borrowing 151, 250 here on this deal. So let's just go look at the AM. So 151, 250 is what I'm borrowing here. My payment is 819 a month. So 819 times 12. If I do 819 times 12 times 12 months, it's 9828. And so if I have 16,000 coming in divided by, what was that? Let's just say 10 grand. I'm hitting a 1.6 debt service coverage ratio. The banks are really happy. Okay. So you got to understand how the banks operate in order to get money from them. And if you don't understand that, you're not going to be able to get the money from them. On top of that, if I scroll down to month 60, let's see what I owe. I only owe 141 grand or 141,774. Let's say I owe 142,000 on this property. Okay. Now let's see if this property, if I'm getting 5% appreciation a year 5, it's worth 245. It's worth 245. I owe 245,000 minus the 142,000 I owe. For the guy that's flipping, I got 103,000 plus, let's say my cash flow was just, let's say it was 300 a month times 60 months. Got 121,000 and I did 30 of these. Now see, that's how you build wealth. But it gets even better. The people that said they wanted 700,000, it's what you want right here. Because once you get to this level here, this is where the financial freedom comes in. And it's all math. It's all knowing what areas to buy in, how much you pay for renovation. And if you could do this in 5 years, why are we sending our kids to college? Why are we going to college? Why are we not tapping into our 401ks, learning this stuff? I'm telling you, man, it's crazy to me that we, the wealthiest country in the world by far, go out here and continue to do the same thing over and over and over, chasing somebody else's dream. But it gets better. This is just the very beginning. This is the hard part. Once you get here, man, you're on autopilot. Let me show you why you're on autopilot. Jump back over here. So once you do this, this is where the roadmap kicks in. You had 4.5 million, and we got this spelled out month by month, what your action items are, what you need to do. So we start at month 60, which is 5 years, and we get down here. This is your retirement right here. And there's a lot of skills that you got to learn in the meantime, but getting your first property is the hardest one, which is not hard to do. Anybody in here that says they can't get a property, let me know. Anybody that can't get a property in here. And I'm going to identify the exact reason why you can't get a property. So comment below if you can't find a property. I know why you can't find a property. So you got $4.5 million that you borrowed at the beginning, $6 million worth of assets. Those $6 million worth of assets are now worth 6.574. You're going to go borrow 75% of that because these numbers work. As you get more money, you borrow more money because you start to make income and more income. And as your income starts to go up, now you have to pay taxes. You don't want to do that. Wealthy people don't want to do that. They want to borrow money as tax-free. This is the hack. This is what the Democrats are talking about getting rid of. But what you do here when you do this, you create so many jobs here that if you take this out of the system, a lot of the jobs disappear. And I'm not going into politics. I'm not, because I ain't a Republican or a Democrat. I don't believe either one of them got our best interest at heart. I don't. So for me, I could care less who gets in there. Not going to affect my life. I'm going to figure out what the laws are, and I'm going to learn how to move around it, maneuver around it. So this 6.574, you're going to go borrow 75% of that, which is 4.93. You're going to pay off this 4.402 because you're 4 or 5. You only owe 4. You pull out 528. No taxes you got to pay on that. You got $500,000 cash. And your properties are making you 15 to 18,000 a month in positive cash flow. Now watch this. You hang on to them for another 5 years. The value of these properties go from 6.574 to 8.39. 6,574, 296. 6,574, 296 times 1.05. I like to say 5.5% because we're going to buy in areas that are better. 5.5% return to the power of 5 years. What do you guys think these properties are worth year 5? Watch this. 8.59 million. Even if you use a 5%, which is pretty basic with the way our economy works, with this debt clock rolling right here, right? We ain't going to get into that. But even if you use that, I'll show you here. Your next cash out refi is 1.8 million. This is money you do not have to pay taxes on. You can do whatever you want with it. Now, I always recapitalize the property. Recapitalize But the property at this point, you got 6.574 million worth of property. Watch this. 6574000 times, let's say 0.05%. That's 328,000 a year in appreciation. This is happening in your sleep and it compounds. This is how you get wealthy and retire. It's not the cash flow. It's buying in the right areas. It's knowing how to find the right areas before they become the right areas, which is what I'm really good at doing. And I can show anybody in any city where that's going to happen. Then when we tie that in, we look at the vacancy rate. We look at the vacancy rate. We know how many houses are there. We look at the new jobs coming into the market. We look at the multipliers they have on them. Jobs have multipliers. A job just doesn't create one job if it's the right type of job. If it's a durable goods manufacturing, it creates between 6 and 8 other jobs, right? So then what you do is you get an idea of what the future housing market is going to need, and you know exactly what's driving that market. It's a hack. Once you learn how to piece all this together and do the construction, like my son did over here, where does construction sheet go? I mean, you know, breaking it down. Roof, plumbing, electric, exterior doors, windows, glass block. He's over on glass block. Actually, this is 2250. Got the bid back. The guy's already contract out on it. It's 5,000 for plumbing. This is going to go down to about 3,200. So he's going to come in right on budget, actually, probably. But he's got a contingency, a 20% contingency. So it's probably not going to touch that. He probably will go over a little bit on some things. But this is really how it works. This is, the 100-mile view of how it works. Now, drilling down into it and understanding all of this can be overwhelming. It can be. And that's why I put together, a course that shows people step by step how to do this. We got accountability coaches. We got just an amazing group, man, all across the country. We got over 40 city groups across the country. And I'm going to be working. One of the things that I realized watching my son do this was that the biggest thing we have to do to help people succeed is we have to build out these vendor lists that we have in the city for the people. In other words, let's say you're just starting and I'm telling you, hey, man, you can get paint done for $2 a square foot. So if you got 1,000 square foot house, $2 for labor and the paint prices that we get going to be another 50 or 60 cents. You can get that house painted for $2,500, $2,600. Sheets of drywall if you got to gut the house. How much is it to gut the house? Anywhere between $3 and $4 a square foot. So 1,000 square foot drywall house, 8-foot ceilings. Now, if it's plaster, it's going to be a little different. But we break all this down so you guys know the cost. And then we have groups all across the country where you can go in there and say, hey, I need a vendor that's investor friendly, like a glass block. Some windows are 12, some are 16, some are 20. A glass block investor pricing is going to be between $12 and $14 a block. So how many blocks do you got? It's easy to figure this stuff out when you break it down in simplicity. Sheet of drywall. How do you figure out how many sheets of drywall are in the house? There's easy ways. Now, I'm not telling you that you do your takeoff, but I'm telling you that this stuff is super, super simple. It's not complicated. Any of you can do it. You just haven't done it before, a lot of you, so it feels overwhelming. And you're saying, well, I got to get a bid for that. Why you got to get a bid? We already got contractors ready to go. These guys want to work. And if we go into a recession, it gets even better for us because then there's more people willing to do the work and there's more properties. The part that's going to be a little harder is the lending piece. And so we've anticipated that, and we have lenders that have these no-doc loans. These are DSCR loans. They'll go up to 75%. For a seasoned investor, they'll give you 90% of acquisition, 100% of renovation. So what we always do is we front load our renovation. Let's say I know that the roof's going to cost me $4,000, but I know retail's 10. I'm going to put that as my very first line on them is 10 grand, right? Let's say I only got 15 grand left I'm working with. Let's say that the demo is going to cost me 5 grand. I mark that up to 10. Let's say removal of trees and stuff outside is 3. I just put 6. So we show people how to vertically integrate and have their own, company where you can mark stuff up. It's legal to do this, right? And so then your very first draw, you're able to pull that money down. I mean, I've had to do it on large projects, hotels. I had a roof that retail price on a roof was 500. I think they gave me $557,000 on this roof, and I got it done for 91 grand. So they gave me that check. It was the very first thing I did was a roof. They gave me that check. I ordered all the materials for the rest of the job. So it's being strategic and know how to do money management, but having the systems and process to do all this. But that's why you don't want to flip properties. I mean, it's okay to flip one here and there, but you're not building any wealth, man. You want to get some more money, you got to go back to work. And the whole reason of doing this is to get you out of work, not into work. So let's go to some questions, man.
Yeah, no, let's jump right in. David, who is in Canada, he says in Canada we can borrow up to 80% LTV. What are the rules in the United States?
I mean, in the United States, they're right now they're about 75%. But when you're doing a burr, you're not putting any money down. You're creating the 25% down in, let's say, 30 days or 60 days through the renovation process. And a lot of times, if you're good at doing that, and the guy that I got does loan in Canada too. I mean, he does loan to Canadians. If you guys want to buy in the United States, he'll loan to you guys too. There is about 100 bips difference, which one percentage rate different. But you got go ahead and drop that link for anybody who wants to get a hold of Adam. Good buddy of mine. He was managing about $2 billion worth of loans a year for a bank over 11 states, retail. It was probably 3 billion actually when he left. And he joined another mortgage company. They gave him equity, and he came in and started this. And go ahead and get that link to anybody who wants to, get a hold of somebody for that. But if you guys don't have so Ray, you doing yeah, Adam Gunn, man, good friend of mine. I could tell you about how I met him. It's a crazy story. He was a branch manager for Huntington Bank, and I had some money in there. This is like 2007. And he called me, said, "What is your bank doing so special for you?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Dude, come over here. I need to talk to you." And Adam would literally start me LLCs up. He would do anything I needed done. Well, we became friends. There was an investor a guy that had a couple $1 million sitting in the bank that didn't want to put it in regular stocks and bonds. And Adam introduced me to the guy back in '08, maybe '08, '09. And the guy said, he wanted, I was like, "Dude, I can give you equity in these properties I'm doing, or I can give you 11% and 2 points." And he's like, "Dude, I don't want equity. I just want 11 and 2. So he ended up loaning me millions of dollars. And I went bankrupt, and I had to call him. I said, "Dude, I'm in bankruptcy." And I think I owed him about 2 million when we were in bankruptcy, but all his money was protected. And I said, "Dude, I'm not going to miss a payment. I'll never miss a payment. I'll pay you every dime I owe you." And the reason I was able to come out of bankruptcy and scale so quick was because of people like him. They believed in me. Even after I went bankrupt, he said, "Nate, you could have burned me." He called me one day and said, "What do you need?" I said, "Dude, I just need to get this bankruptcy over." He was like, "No, what do you need?" I was like, "Jim, I just need to get my bankruptcy over with, brother." He's like, "Do you need money?" I was like, "You would loan me money?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Nate, I'm an investor." He's a professional investor. He's like, "Dude, you didn't run from the problems, you ran to them. Treat people fair, take care of people, man. They'll take care of you." He passed away sadly in 2016. His son called me. I said, "If I can ever do anything for you, let me know." I'm putting the second floor on his house right now. I'm gutting his whole house for him. They told him it was 600,000 just to put the second floor on his house. I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna gut your house, rebuild your house, lay it out, Mac Daddy. $250,000 is gonna add about 600,000 in value to his house." So, it just giving back to people that have taken care of you over time. We all need help sometime, man. And that's what I'm here. Any questions you guys got about real estate? Like I said, man, I own over 4,000 units now. I own Marriott hotels, Hilton hotels. IHG Hotels, which is a Staybridge, which does about, I think it did about, we're on pace to do about 4.7 million just on that one hotel this year. That hotel will bring about 38% to the bottom line before debt. And debt on that is, I think I got two hotels on that loan. I got a Hampton Inn on there too. It's 81,000 a month. But 25,000 of that's principal reduction because I'm into it for some years. So every time I make a payment, net worth goes up by 25 grand. Now it's not all mine. I got partners in it, but I mean, it just, understanding how this stuff works, man. Coming from someone who was poor, for me, man, I just want to share with you guys what I've learned, man.
Nate
So
Meyer, he Andrew actually invited him. He says, I'm a 23-year-old male. Just got a house last year and I'm an electrician. I want to invest in real estate so I can quit my job and spend more time with my family and do the things I'm meant to do. How do I use my home to get another one, like an actual rental property?
good question. I mean, I don't know a lot about your home. I don't know if you got equity in it. You can pull a HELOC. You probably got a good rate, so you probably don't want to go refinance it because you're going to disrupt the whole rate. But I would need a little more details. But the goal is to get enough money out to buy your first property. Doing a BRRRR, you only need one set of down payments. We use that down set payment over and over and over and over and over again, while most people are buying a property, saving, going to work, working extra hours for 2 years, 3 years to save up enough money to buy another property. Doing a BRRRR method, what you're doing is you're coming in and you're renovating. You're saying, man, I'm gonna put that kitchen in, cost me $12,000. Here, let's break a kitchen down real quick. Average kitchen is gonna have 14 cabinets in it, $300 a cabinet. Let's break it down real quick. So if I come in and I know that I can, let's just break a kitchen down real quick. If I come in and I know that I can get these cabinets for about 180 to 200 a piece, I'm gonna be all in for 300 with the install. 300 times 14, right? That's 4,200. My average granite cost is gonna be $50 a square foot. I like to pick a little nicer granite. $50 a square foot plus 50 times, let's say, 30 square feet of granite equals 5,700. And then you're gonna have your drop-in sink and your cutout. That's another 375 bucks. Then you're gonna have your flooring in there. Let's say, your flooring, we get flooring for let's say $3 a square foot for LV, for luxury vinyl plank. For some good stuff, 350, that's 22 mil installed. 120 square feet plus 120 times 3.5 plus, let's say our appliance package is 2,500 bucks. Plus, let's say we had to add some electric in there, 1,200. Plus, we got our plumbing. We may have had to change around. We're moving the floor, moving the plumbing around. Another, let's say $1,000 in there. Then let's say you put some lights in there. You add some, can lights and final fixtures in there. Another, $200. You don't have to have. You can order stuff off Amazon. And then let's say that you put a backsplash in, that's $1,000, $12,395 for that kitchen, and it adds 25,000 in value. These are the type of things we're looking for when we're finding these properties, things that I can do to add value to that property. That way, if I'm in it for 150, the price is at 200. The average person has to save up 50 grand. I just did this in a matter of 30 days, 60 days. Made 50 grand in equity. The bank looks at that kind of the same way. They just want you to be 75%. And they want to loan you the money at a 1.2 debt service coverage ratio. Now, the lender we got now can go down to negative, even a 1 debt service coverage ratio for the right circumstances. So it's just understanding this. You add windows into, windows are 350 a pop, right? Let's say this house my son's doing is 12 windows. 4,200 bucks. Windows add 10 grand in value. Every item that you're doing in there, you're intentionally thinking, I put a roof on for 4,000 and added 10,000 in value. How do you know this? Because you look at the comps. The comps are the comparable sales that have sold in the past 6 months in that same neighborhood. Now, some people say a quarter mile, but I like to be tight in this neighborhood because a quarter mile, I might cross into a different neighborhood. I want to be in the same school district. I want to be in a tight area. So, what other questions y'all got? Come on, hit me with some questions, man.
Yeah, so Aaron's saying I was recommended to start with wholesale by clearing my credit debt.
That's an absolutely great way to start. Because see, when you're learning to, instead of trading your time for money, well, let's just say you make 27 or 30 bucks an hour, how are you going to clear your credit debt working more hours? You work more hours, they tax you more money. You get a bonus, they tax you at 42 to 50%. I mean, it doesn't work. Meanwhile, the guy out here that owns real estate, let me show you something real quick. Let me just show you something. So let's say I own 6 million worth of real estate and it's bringing in the 6 million times 8% a year. That's 480,000. Let's say I'm paying debt on 450,000 or 4.5 million of, let's say, 6.5. Now there's going to be another 100 bips, which I don't want to get too complicated, but that's going to look like principal reduction. That's 292. So what am I making? I'm making about 180,000 in cash flow and principal reduction. So I got to pay taxes on that 180, right? But if I got 4.5 million is my basis minus land value, and this is the way that the taxes work. Let's say land value is 10%. I got 4,050,000 that the IRS says, hey, you can depreciate this over 27 and a half years. Watch this. What am I paying taxes on? 40 grand, right? I mean, I'm paying taxes on 40 grand. But when we do the Burr method, you're not even going to do that because you're going to have bonus depreciation, which I'm not going to get into that right now. But let's say 40,000 in taxes, you got to pay, let's say you're paying 30%. It ain't even 30% because you get your head out. Look, man, I'm just telling you, man, 12 grand on 180,000 in income. How many people out here that work a W-2 would love to do that? Right? And I'm telling you that there's this thing called bonus depreciation, which I'm not going to go too deep. Well, you know what? Let me just jump in and show y'all real quick, man. I'm going to show you guys real quick. Do you guys want to see it or not? So we built out this calculator here, which pretty much does all that for you. This is the maker schedule. So what you have is these bonus items, anything under 27 and a half years on a maker schedule, 15-year, 7-year items, your 5-year items. Them are called bonus depreciation. So you got your basis depreciation and your bonus. So year one bonus on this property is 25,950. So add that back into 30 times over. You got another $700,000 on them 30 properties that you got to burn through before you even got to start talking about paying taxes. So if you were making, that's an extra $700,000. And let's just say, let's say you had another $700,000 in depreciation. You had this property was, you're clearing 40,000 a year. Man, you would have to own that property 18 years before you even ate through that $700,000 that you got. But your cash flow is going to go up. So every time your cash flow goes up, the value of your property is going up, you go borrow more money because then you're creating another expense. Interest is an expense that stays with the property. Every time you pull more capital out, that tax write-off stays, that interest payment stays with that property, but it's your cash to do whatever you want. And then that's why I ask you guys, man, why ain't they teaching this in school? Why ain't they teaching this in college?
David saying, I'd like to learn more about how to buy the property using the renovation process. Where do I go to learn more?
We have some trainings we can send you guys that can break it down a little more. I also got a mentorship. If you guys want to get on a call to see if that's something, you need your hand held a little bit more. You need a community. You need step by step. You need weekly coaching calls. You need accountability coach to walk you through the process. We do all that. So if you got anybody that wants some training videos, just comment below training videos. Just comment below training videos, man. And we'll send them to you guys.
Brad is asking, when is the best time to put your properties under a trust? And after buying a property, how long should you have to wait before refinancing? And is home equity line of credit better than a
All right,
refinance? So
whoa,
you
whoa,
gave,
one at a time, brother. You hit me with a lot.
so when is the best time to put your properties under a trust? This is first question.
So, man, I can't give you legal advice. That's gonna be different on everybody. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what state you're in. I don't know if you're married. I mean, there's so much that goes into that. That's something that you really need to speak to a professional on. Somebody who's set up to do that. Even me, I don't make that decision. I got professionals who do all that for me. And what's the second part of his question?
Yes. After buying a property, how long do you have to wait before refinancing?
Some people buy in these bad areas and they can never refinance because the values never go up, right? They go into what we call a death spiral. They listen to this guy on who says buy these cheap Section 8 properties. They're cheap for a reason. They're cheap because all the people with money left the community. All the jobs left. They didn't take their houses with them. There's a surplus of houses in a lot of them community. That's why you're buying them for 60 to 80,000 turnkey with a tenant in them, right? And so they got a ton of deferred maintenance. If you get into buying in them areas, you probably won't be able to refi. You'll probably be a tired landlord. You'll probably be looking to sell it to somebody. So, no, I'm not necessarily saying stay away from Section 8. If I'm buying an area like right now, I was talking to one of my students yesterday, and he's in Orlando, and he was showing me an area over there where they're building a new stadium. Bro, I'm buying that area and renting it out Section 8 right now. I'm waiting for the stadium to come. Once the stadium's there, it's walking distance to the stadium. Now I may be land banking the thing for Section 8, but once the neighborhood turns and they put a Whole Food and a Chick-fil-A up, I bought way before they even thought about coming in, right? Now I got all these millennials and Gen Z walking around with their beer, going to the soccer game, screaming out loud. And guess what? They want to live in that neighborhood. So you have to learn how to identify those areas before that even happens.
And then he also asked, is a HELOC better than like a cash out refi?
HELOCs typically are only on your primary. Memphis Section 8, no, you want to stay away from Memphis, man. Memphis is just bad, a lot of crime, a lot of gangs. Um, I mean, usually I say, man, there's a good neighborhood to buy in every city. Look, I haven't found one in Memphis. I'm not saying that one doesn't exist. Atlanta's great, but you can't just say, I'm going to buy this house, Section 8 house. You got to be very strategic. That's like saying, hey, man, I'm going to buy this stock. Well, why you want to buy it? Right? The answer should be, oh, because it pays good dividends. Well, maybe they're paying good dividends because that's the only thing they can do to incentivize people to buy it. Right? So the real answer should be because right now, this is an emerging market and this market's projected to grow 400x over the next 5 years. And this is the emerging leader in this sector, or because it's way undervalued based off of the underwriting that we did, right? So when you're buying an investment, you're buying future value at a discounted rate. You just got to know how to find that. What causes depreciation? It's just something that you get. The IRS. I'll give you my take on it. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. All the guys that are in Washington, D.C., a lot of them own property. So when they build these laws out, they're not building them out for you guys. They're building them out for them. They're saying, man, wouldn't it be cool if we could buy property and get depreciation? Well, yeah, we should do that. There's an argument made. You're not really buying a property. You're buying a roof, and the roof's going down in value. So we should be able to get depreciation on this property. And so they said, you're right, you're right, you're right. Residential property is going to go to zero in 27 and a half years. And that's how they came up with that. Commercial property is 39 years because we use better materials on it, right? And so that's just, you have to recapture that when you sell the property. You have to recapture depreciation. And so there's a lot that goes into that. You guys got to understand about it. when to sell, when to hold. And then you could do what's called a 1031 exchange. There's all kinds of ways that you can still defer. They don't call it avoid taxes or not paying tax. They call it defer taxes. You defer them the rest of your life. That's what wealthy people do. I'm just going to defer them the rest of my life. I'm going to buy this asset. I'm going to take these 20, sell them, scale up to get something bigger, sell them, scale off to get something bigger. Then I'm going to put them in a trust and my kids are going to inherit them. Right. So it's all about knowing how to play the game.
Nasir says or asks, does the academy teach you how to find deals off market step by step?
Man, yes, absolutely. But the biggest key to knowing how to find deals, anybody in here that can't find a deal? Anybody in here can't find deals? Come on, man. Somebody in here can't find deals, right? You guys got to know your construction numbers. If you don't know your construction numbers, you can't possibly know what a deal looks like, right? It'd be like McDonald's trying to sell hamburgers and they don't know what they're paying for meat. They're just selling stuff, man. Just get them out here. We're just gonna sell them stuff. How much? I don't know. You know, figure it out when we get our profit and loss back. That's what many people do. And then they say, man, I can't find a deal. If you don't know your construction costs, how are you going to find a deal? Because that's the first thing you have to analyze when you're buying these value add properties. What's it going to cost to add value to this property?
Aaron's saying, when buying your first property, how do you get funding with no capital? Somebody also was asking about that zero
So
down
if you don't
credit
have
stuff
if you
too.
don't have any capital, you don't really need to be buying properties. Like you need to learn to probably wholesale. You need to get skilled up first.
Does everybody drop in the chat? Does everybody know what wholesale is? We're using that word, but I know some of you this might be new. Does raise your hand if you don't know what wholesale is, or just say no in the chat if you need an explanation of what wholesaling real estate is. David saying, is wholesale like arbitrage?
Kind of like, but not really. Wholesale's like this. It's simple. Let's not overthink it. Okay. I go over here and my neighbor says, hey, man, I want to sell my house. I just inherited this house from my uncle. I don't want it. The city's out here. They're fining me. Now I got to cut the grass. I got to pay these taxes. I called a realtor up. They're not returning my call. They don't want to list it. They said it's in bad shape and I got to do all this work. Right. The guy's saying, dude, I'm saying, man, well, what do you want for the property? He's saying, dude, I don't really care. Just what will you give me? I said, let me go over there and look at it, man. I go over there and look at it. I know the property's worth 200,000 if it's fixed up. I know it's going to cost me 50,000 to fix it up. I know the max I want to be all in on is 75% of the after repair value. I know this guy doesn't really want it. I just say, man, I'll give you 50 grand. He says, man, can you give me 60? I can do that. I can get you 60. So now I bought the property for $60,000, right? I know the renovation costs are 50. I know an investor wants to be all in for 150. So now I got the property for 60, put it under contract. I assign my contract basically to the guy who wants to buy it. And I mark it up to that where he's going to be in it for 150, maybe 140. I mark it up 30 grand. I make 30 grand off the transaction because I found the deal. That's all wholesaling is. Once you get a piece of paper, contractual piece of paper on a property, you control the piece of property for a certain amount of time. So you're gonna set them terms and conditions up. Maybe he wants some money down, maybe he doesn't. Guy like the guy we were just talking about probably doesn't. He's just saying, man, I just say, look, dude, I need 30 days. And I can get you, 60 grand. I can close it in 30 to 60 days. And say, hey, man, if I don't close it in 60 days, man, I'll give you, $1,000 to give me another 30 days, right? Or you can just walk away. So that's all it is. Finding something at a discount and finding somebody who has a need and a want for it. There's a very strategic way you can do that too. The easiest way to find the investors is put what we call these bandit signs that says investor special, 3-bed, 1-bath, maybe put the neighborhood on there and then put a phone number, Google voice number, or, we have a whole training that Jirius does on that. They call in that number. You answer. It comes to your phone. It's not your real phone number. You just Jarius. Jarius, what's going on, brother? Pull Jarius up, man. He can
Oh, there
explain
you
it
are,
better.
Jarius.
Yeah, Jarius has done a
Look at
thousand
the
wholesale.
ambiance behind you, Jarius.
Sorry, guys. We had a situation at practice, at football practice. It took a little bit longer than
It
we
was
had thought.
100 degrees out day. It was 100 degrees out today, man. That was a problem.
I know, man. I felt bad, man, but they were pushing themselves. How's everybody doing today? We
Doing
can finally
awesome,
take
Jared.
this
So they were
call.
just asking about wholesaling and what you should do if you don't have any money. And so it's pretty simple. You've done about over 1,000 wholesale deals, right?
Yeah, Nate, can I tell you guys exactly what I would do? Here's what I would do. I'm actually gonna make an Instagram video on this. If I had $500 to my name, this is what I would do right now. I would, and I wish I had this stuff with me, but you guys want me? I'll share. Let me share my screen, Nate.
Yeah. Share your screen. Yeah, come on, brother.
All right, here. Let me share my screen. Here's what I would do.
Hey, Jared, thanks for jumping on too, man. I know you've been coaching your kid all day, man.
Can you guys see this? Okay. Can you see my Amazon?
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Good. Here's what I would do. I would go to Amazon. I would buy Avery 3x5 labels. Right here. I would buy these. I like any of these. This is fine. I like these ones. This is what I used to buy all the time. I would buy these. I would add this to my cart. Next, I would buy a Sharpie. Sharpies. I'd buy a variety pack. I like to get some that are colorful. We'll add these to our cart. I would add a clipboard with storage. I would add like this. This is fine here. We can get something. This is inexpensive and overnight. All right. I would add these 3 items to my cart. Then the next thing that I would do is this. Somebody in the chat drop a zip code where you're from. Somebody, anybody. Rule is you have to have your camera on. If your camera's not on, I'm not going to talk to you. Sorry. It's not because I don't love you. Aaron, is your camera on? All right, we'll just take Aaron because he's the first one. Oh, he's not wow. All right, Lewis. We'll do Lewis. All right, Lewis, where are you from?
Lewis has his camera on.
All right, Lewis. We'll do Lewis. Then I would do this. I would go to Redfin. For the simple fact, I like Redfin search better than Zillow's. So whatever. I'd go to Redfin. I would put my zip code in right here, Florida. And I would probably honestly go a little bit bigger picture. What part of Florida is this? But I'm gonna go zip code. It's not a big deal. We'll go zip code. And then I'm gonna search. I'm gonna hit all filters. I'm gonna scroll down. I want to look for houses. I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna look.
Take the zip code. Take the zip code off on Redfin, and it'll open the whole area up for you.
All right, I'll leave it on here and see if we get hits. And if we don't, I'll go bigger. But all right, I'm gonna get rid of coming soon. I'm gonna keep active and contract and under pending. Contract and pending. Then I would go to the keyword search feature and I would type in renovated. Let's see how many houses pop up. There's 96, 12 houses here. All right, Lewis, you following along? You guys listening? I would look at where all these houses are. Let's check the description here. This was listed 7 hours ago. Let's see if it's really renovated or not. And what I'm looking for, this is okay. I'm looking for a house that has been renovated by an investor, a flipper. All right, here, look, I like the sign of this. There's some plastic on there, so that's like newer. Lets me know it's newer. Tile looks like it's staged, so this is probably renovated. I would be okay with something like that, I guess. Georgetown Avenue. Let's just do 2 more real fast. This here, this is definitely a house that's been flipped. Come on, and stunning, newly renovated home in Melbourne's great quiet neighborhood. Boom. Veranda. I'd keep this street in mind. Let's just look at one more really fast. This looks nice. Another one here. Pride of ownership, size and this beauty. All right, so this is a well-maintained home. I'm looking for renovated, updated. I'm looking for something that shows me an investor bought it. This is not an investor house. Oh my gosh. Look at that tile, guys. If anybody ever flipped a house in our academy and said, this is my bathroom, I would be like, guys, we got to go back to the drawing board. No, but you get what I'm doing. So I would go in this neighborhood. Right here where it says renovated, updated, find all these people that have these houses that they're flipping. The next thing I would do is, and this is something if I have less than a couple $100, right? Now I've filled my cart on Amazon. Those items cost less than $25, $21. I'd probably order like 100 of those Avery stickers though. I would drive up and down all that entire zip code, everywhere around there, and look for houses with overgrown grass, houses that have wheelchair ramps going to the front door, houses where the gutters are kind of hanging off, houses that just don't fit in. We all have seen the ugly duckling houses of the streets. And I would put out 100 Avery stickers that says, hello, my name is Lewis. I'm interested in buying your house cash as is. Please give me a call back at, and then I would put my Google Voice number on there because that is also free. And I would do that 100 times. And then I would see what appointments come and what I can find and what I can do. That's 1000% what I would
Jairus,
do.
where do you put that sticker at?
Right on the front door. Right on the front door, the screen door, right where they can see it. And I can promise you it works. And your number might not be 100. Your number might be 500. Your number might be 25. I don't know. But I can promise you, if you take that kind of action, all this takes, money's not an obstacle anymore. Like I've showed you guys how you can do this for next to nothing. Now you just have to make that commitment to go out there and do this action. And I know this works because I've done over 1,000 wholesale deals. And I started with a 474 credit score. And I started with nothing, like nothing at all. Like, we don't even need to get in the whole story. But if you guys can commit to taking this kind of action, I can promise you, you will get results. The only way you will not get results is if you just stop and don't do it. That's it.
No, that's good stuff, man. And then so when they call you, what are you looking for? When they call you, what's the next step to putting it under contract? What's the next step?
Man, the next step is I want to get out to the property. And we have some qualifying questions that we'll ask and we talk about in the academy a lot. But my thing I just want to know is, hey, have you made any updates to the house recently? And I always ask updates versus does the house need anything? Because if the toilet's flush and the roof doesn't leak and the furnace blows hot air, it's technically fine. But I'm more interested in like how long ago did they make those repairs? So my thing is like I just want to get out to the house and I just want to meet the seller. I want to let them know I'm a real person. I want to ask them, did they have a number in mind? Hey, what are you guys looking to do with the money? Oh, you want to buy a boat or you want to send your kids to college or you need to pay off debt? What does it look like? And I would just talk to them and figure out what their pain points are. And then always have them start with the first number when it comes to buying or coming up with a number to buy the property. And remember, beforehand, you guys are looking at these houses that are listed that these rehabbers are putting up there. So you kind of have a good idea what the end price is going to be, what the ARV is going to be. So, you keep that in mind and you work backwards from there. That's what you do.
Yeah. And Jairus, to go on his point, like I bought one for my cousin. My cousin had one and I did a live on this in the academy. The guy wanted 110,000. It was a 3-unit. I said, look, man, I was just honest with the guy. The guy was 92 years old. He had power of attorney. He was in a nursing home. And I said, look, man, you got a Section 8 tenant up there that's not been paying, right? Her rent's $600. Her portion's $400. I was like, my cousin was the retail guy. He was paying $500. The other tenant was paying $200. I was like, dude, you're losing money every month. And I was like, I'm not telling you can't get 110. But I'm telling you, I'm a buyer at $50,000. And if you want to take it out to market, I can give you a agent that, may be able to help you out. And I said, but here's what you're going to have. You're going to have 30, 40 people come in. They're going to look at the property. You're going to have to let them all in. I said, they may put it under contract. Everything may go smooth. It may not. I said, what I can tell you right now is I don't think that place is worth 110. And here's why. It needs a roof. Is the roof leaking? Yeah, the roof's leaking. It needs this. And I kind of went down through the list. I said, have you looked at the breakers in the basement? And he said, you know what, man, give me some time to think about it. And he calls me back in 15 minutes and he says, 50,000, how quick can you close? Right? I just had another one that I did a live on the academy. The people wanted 150,000. I said, man, I can't give you 150 for this, man. I walked it and I broke it down. I broke down all the repairs, retail numbers on them. I said, dude, I can give you 40. Right now, he's calling back, waiting on me to call him back. He said they'll take 50. I said, I know I'm a buyer 40. I don't know if I'm a buyer 50. Right? Why? And it comes with 2 extra lots, and it's in Walnut Hills, which is an up and coming neighborhood of Cincinnati. But the thing is gargantuous. It's 2,900 square feet. It just needs a lot of work, man. And so I could probably get it for 50, maybe fix a few things, get the city off of it because the city has some orders, clean that up, flip it, and take out the 2 parcels, right? I mean, the money's easy to make in real estate, man. It's the knowledge that you guys need. Once you have the knowledge, you had the right people around you, you had the right support team. You have like we do these weekly. How many weekly coaching calls we do a week, Jarius?
Too many. Just even the ones that are scheduled, like 4 or 5. But that doesn't even count the impromptu lives and the drop-ins and the everything else. Like
we got 2 tomorrow where I'm going to be breaking down this house my son bought for 70,000, showing everybody the numbers on it, showing the budget. I'm going to have my son. Now I got my son 17 doing it, right? So I'm starting to see his pain points, which then like he's been through the academy, which then helps me realize like, man, we got some stuff we need to add to the academy, which Jarius has already helped and put a lot of that stuff together. And then so Ray Vaughn, he just joined like not even, a couple months ago. And he said the lives have been fired. Man, they're always fired because Jarius came from poverty. I came from poverty. And to see Americans out here struggling to work the next 20 or 30 years is ridiculous, man.
Yes, sir. Asked, does the academy help us by using Nate's subcontractors in the area we're investing in?
Man, I just posted today. My roofer did this roof for $95 a square, tear off, put back. Plus, he charged me $5 more a square because it was an 812 instead of a 412. I did this whole roof, and I just posted the invoice in with the guy's phone number. I said, anybody in Cincinnati, call him, man. He'll knock it out for you. But we have, what do we got? 40. How many city groups are we up to? Show them the map real quick, Donald.
Yeah.
And also, really fast while Donald's pulling that up, guys, like, it's not like Nate's contractors don't matter. Mine don't matter. Donald's don't matter. Like, you guys you can find your own. Like, when we give you the tools so you can do it, like, that's where it's more powerful. Like, we could have given Hayden all these different people, like, and everybody else, but it's about you guys understanding how to do it. That's where the real power is.
Yeah, these are all of our city groups here. And we see we got one in Honolulu, and what they do is they share information, knowledge. We're in almost every major city. And what they do is they do meetups, they do walkthroughs, they network together, they learn what street they want to buy in. They partner together. We got a strong Chicago group, man. Yeah. Donald, go find a picture of the last. Yeah. Go find a picture of Rob Law this weekend up in New York, man. He had a meetup up there, Chicago. I mean, we had a bunch of meetups this week. Yep, Houston. We got an amazing.
Andre, I was just down in Houston. I was down in the Woodlands like 6 months ago, man. It's beautiful down there, guys. Yeah, Fort Myers, Florida, all that stuff. We're leaving the cruise out of where are we leaving? Fort Lauderdale?
Out of Miami. Tons of groups in Fort Myers. But yeah, like going back to the question too, there's shared vendor lists, so different vendors and contractors in those markets where they're sharing those contacts, giving reviews on them. Yeah, this is the New York City group that just met over the weekend, like Nate was saying. So yeah, I mean the city groups are phenomenal. They're the localized group. Sometimes they're doing walkthroughs of their properties as well.
So Rob right there, man, he's made millions since he came into the academy, been buying for 20 years up in New York. But what he's learned to implement, he actually retired from his job. He's also an attorney, so he helps people understand law up there. Just a great guy, man. He runs our New York. And then actually we have I think there's another picture. Oh, Rosanna's in the back over there. She's helping out with Long Island. I don't know why they're like, you're not part of the borough, but and then we're about to probably do a New Jersey group because we got a lot of people in New Jersey too. But look, all them people have one passion, one thing in mind. They want to create wealth for their family. And they do walkthroughs on properties. They share vendors. We have vendor lists. We have private. What's the chat that we use? Group Me. We have chats for all the city groups across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, we have a doctor that joined the academy, and she runs Fort Myers. So she's real passionate about it. So we have everybody in there, man. Doctors, lawyers, just man, we got a guy in there that runs a family office that loans money to people. 100%. He does 100% financing for the members if the deal's good enough. He has a family office that he committed. I think he committed $20 million to lend out to people in the academy.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal. Lester asked, you have
He
a
was in
cheat.
Cincinnati
Go ahead.
Monday. He came to our meetup Monday.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know Deshaun's here. He's over Cincinnati's group with you guys.
Yep.
Lester asked, do you have a cheat sheet for rehab costs, like you're saying,
Yeah,
granted, and stuff
absolutely,
like that?
man. Step by step, the same one that we've used to renovate thousands of units, step by step with SKU numbers on there. Some of them SKUs are old, but Jarius even built out a store, Amazon store. And I told him just hold up because we're working on a deal with one of the big box vendors right now. That's going to give us discounts across for everybody in our group. And so we're working out with one of the big box vendors right now. But Jarius is really good at design. Show him some of your properties, what they look like when you get done, Jarius. I mean, he's really good with design, man. And so he helps design people's stuff, make sure that they're using neutral colors, the right stuff that's going to help sell or help Burr, like sell. We're not big into selling, but every once in a while, like Danny Estep, he just sold one yesterday. What were his numbers on that property? Do you know?
I also don't remember. I know he.
I
think it was
saw
like
it,
He's
yeah.
a 24-year-old who quit his job and he's found two people to partner with in the academy. They're the money people. He's the boots on the ground. And he's bought millions of dollars worth of real estate in the past less than a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He met him at the Burr 360 last year. The Burr 360 is an event that we throw. We're going out of Miami this year. On the Allure of the Seas, Royal Caribbean. We got the conference room. We got the morning. We got the conference room, the big room where they hold the events. Anybody that's been on the cruises before. So that'll be fun.
Nate, some people are asking about more information of how they get information about the mentorship or your free trainings.
So if you guys want information about our mentorship, we can get you on a call. We want to find out if we can help you first off. If it's not something you're really committed to, man, we don't want you in there because your results are our results, right? But if you know that this is something that you're ready to do, you're ready to pull the trigger, then just comment mentor below. If not, and you just somebody's giving feedback. Is that me?
No, I think it's good now.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
anybody that's interested in mentorship, hearing more about it, just comment mentor below. I know we got people over on YouTube and Instagram as well as Facebook and the Zoom. But if you guys want some trainings, let us know what kind of training you need because we built out a ton of those as well.
Tay says, I inherited a property worth $200K and it's rented out. What's the best way to leverage this property to get more properties?
I don't know. Do you got debt on it? Go get a loan, but you got to know what you're doing with that money. You don't want to just get money and go guess. So what do how much is it rented out for? Can you put more money in it, make it worth 300,000? Do you got debt on it?
Yeah, how much equity do you have in that, Tay? Feel free to drop that in the chat and we can revisit your question there. Sherry saying, so you mentioned we need about 50K to start, correct? But nothing down. Think I missed something.
You can start with no money. You can. But if you got 50 grand, it's relatively easy. Because we got lenders that'll loan you 80% of purchase, 90% of renovation. So, and I don't want to go deep into that, but there's ways to strategically do your deals where by the end of the renovation, you got all your cash back and you're off buying another deal. And then you're renting it out. Then you're going to refinancing it, putting permanent debt on it. Because you got to use two sets of debt. Fix and flip debt. And then you take it over to permanent debt with the DSCR. You don't need tax returns. You don't need anything to get that done, but the property has to be rented out and stabilized to get that done. And you do need about a 640 to 680 credit score. 680, you're going to get a better rate. 640, you're kind of pushing it, but credit's easy to fix too. And again, you can use like my son, Kaden. He just came in, but yeah, he just came in, but he just bought his first property with credit cards. My credit cards, 0%. They don't show up on my personal credit either.
Yeah,
So-
Biv was asking, can you talk a little more about buying your first property with credit cards?
So we have a partnership. So whenever we find a need for people in our mentorship, we go out and we try to find the right partner to help them out. So we found a partner that what they do is they'll come in and build out your business. They'll build out your LLC if you don't have one. All right, see you later, Jarius. Thank you, brother.
I'll see you guys. Bye, everybody.
And then what they'll
Thursday
do
at noon, we'll do cold calling and stuff. Bye, everybody.
Oh, hey, Jarius.
Yo.
So Thursday at noon, guys, use this same link. And you're going to be going live and you're going to be showing people how to find deals. You're going to be calling people, right?
Yeah, all the time.
He's going to show you.
He's going to show you almost every week. We have a ton of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So, sorry, Donald, go ahead with the question again.
No, yeah. Have a good night, cheers. Yeah. So how do you buy your first property with credit cards was their question.
Yeah. So, we use this company that can help. They know which credit lines to go after. They know how to your business to make it look like it's a business that companies are going to give credit cards to. These credit cards are 0% between 9 and 18 months. So you get these 0% cards, and then you use this app. I'll let Caden tell you because he said all this stuff. Come here, son. Yeah. Hey, so would you tell them real quick? Tell them who you are.
My name's Caden. I am.
Come on down here. Got the. Can you guys hear him?
Interviewing me. He's interviewing me.
No. Just tell them about plastic. How you just bought your first house with credit cards. With my credit cards.
So all it is an app you put the credit cards in, and when you send over money, whether it's to a contractor or to buy a property, you send it to the title company. Whenever you send the money over, it doesn't look like it's coming from credit cards. It'll look like it's coming from a bank, and all they do is charge like 2.5% flat fee on every single transaction. So if we get the since we have 12 to 18 months no interest on these credit cards, it's really only 2.5% interest.
Yeah, and points.
Yeah.
So what's the app that you found to use to do that with?
Plastic. It's with plastic with a Q at the end.
PLASTIQ.
So like plastique. Plastique.
Yep. And so you go in there and you just put like one of the credit cards had 25 grand, put 25 grand on there. Now they ask for an invoice. So we had to get the invoice together for that. And then the other one was 26,500 and there was another one for 25,000. So we ended up sending more money over than actually was even needed on there so that you can get money back at closing for the renovations as well. Caden, would you give me another Topo Chico?
So how does plastic work with Fund and Grow? Is that separate or they work together?
No, they're separate. Fund and Grow is drop the link down there. They're the ones that help you get the credit. And if you sign up through us, we got like $500 group discount. And also they'll let 2 people sign up instead of 1. So far I've got 93,500. I still have one more round to go. My third round, they're thinking I'm going to get over $100,000. And they're not looking at any documentation either. They didn't look at my tax returns. They just looked at my credit and my stated income. Not that kind. Clear one. Give me actually one of them sparkling waters out of the freezer. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Donald, did you drop the link below?
Yep, I dropped it.
Okay.
I can drop it one more time too.
Make sure there's a bunch of them out there. This one has like 4.9 stars, over 5,000 happy customers. There's a lot of them. Make sure you go to this one here. There's a lot of people that try to piggyback off their name.
First. Nate personally used this one first before we even talked about it. He
wanted
to
before
himself.
we've had some experiences with people that we pushed over, and we just want to make sure it's the right fit. So I didn't tell them, hey, I didn't tell them who I was. I just went in there, I signed up, I use it, I paid them, they got results. The guy texts me, he calls me, he's like, hey, I got you another card. I need you to go into your account and do this. Like they do literally everything for you. All right. Thank you, son. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so Mandar is asking how to buy an investment property if you're low on your debt to income ratio because of your primary home. So they just bought a primary 2 months ago.
No, they don't care about that. The lenders that we got don't care about that. These are DSCR lenders. They don't look at your debt to income ratio. They look and make sure that you got reserves in the account for the property. They look at your experience. If you don't have experience, you probably need to partner with somebody that has experience, or you're going to have a larger down payment. But keep in mind that down payment, if you BRRRR effectively, your next loan, you're going to get the money back.
Brandon's asking, so when you go to the bank, say, do you tell them that you plan on renovating and they loan on that? So like, do they loan the house costs and the renovation money?
Yeah, they do all that. You're not going to go to a bank. Banks don't typically do that. Fund and Grow does not take a percentage like most of these people out here scamming you. They don't take a percentage. You pay them a flat fee. Your money's your money. There's a lot of people that'll go out here and say, hey, I'll get you 100,000. You got to give me 15%. Like, dude, I'm not giving you 15 grand. That's like, I might as well just go to a loan shark, right? They charge you a flat fee because this is their business. This is what they do. They get results. They've gotten people billions of dollars in credit cards over the life of their company. Great people. We have the CEO came on and spoke a couple weeks ago to all of our academy students, and we got a bunch of them signed up and rolling. So it's just wherever there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. You guys got to think that challenges equal opportunity. Find the opportunity in the challenge and see if that challenge is worth the amount of money the opportunity is going to give you.
Anuri says, I can't find properties that can cash flow on rentals after the refinance on the BRRRR method in San Antonio, Texas. Any tips on how
San
to
Antonio's
find properties?
easy. San Antonio's easy. Here, let's go into San Antonio real quick. San Antonio's easy to find.
Isn't Ashley based there too?
Yeah, Ashley, one of our accountability coaches, she's there. She just did her second deal. San Antonio is an easy market to find in. You probably, honestly, man, you don't know your construction numbers would be my guess. You're saying after you BRRRR, like what is your, how much are you buying these things for? How much are you renovating them for? Like, tell me what the problem is and I'll show you the solution, right? Because, San Antonio, that's one of them states you can't find what they're listed for, can you? I mean, what they sold for, can you?
Yeah, on Zillow, yeah. Not in Texas.
So that's a little harder, but we'll go in here and see if we can find any data on it anyways.
Alicia's asking, is flipping your first property a good idea?
It could be. It could be. I mean, it just depends. If you have money, but if you're flipping a property, that's good. My son might flip his first property. There are no rules. The name of the game is wealth accumulation and deferring taxes. That's the name of the game. We're after wealth accumulation. Think about that. We're trying to accumulate wealth. So there are different strategies. There are different things that you may have to do. There are no set rules, so don't feel like there are. The set rules are when it comes to the math. That's the set rules. So if you go to for sale here, it's harder to find things that are on the market for sale. But if we go to price here, we just go to maximum, 150 grand. There's a lot of properties here, man. This is probably some good opportunities to buy properties, and this is retail pricing, right? This is retail. Now I start digging in, and let's just go find what's under 100 grand. Let's look for some BRRRR properties. But what we do is we go a little bit deeper than that. Look. Right here, I could tell you what this property is going to cost here. This property would need to be worth $250 for me to do this, because this property here is going to need electric's going to be $7 to $8 a square foot. The plumbing is going to be, $750. You just have to dig in and see what's this one say about it here. It's got the San Antonio nice little letter. This was a good one here. I call him and offer him 20 grand for it if I knew what my construction costs were. You are hereby advised that the above list of property is in violation. Well, no crap. Could you guys believe that? Yeah. So that's pretty obvious. So let me show you guys somewhere else where you can go find deals at. And if you go to natebarger.com, this is what Jirius is going to show you guys. If you join his call, he's going to actually do this and cold call people. Come on. There you go. Can you guys please change that picture? Thank you. I look better than that in real life too, by the way, everybody.
It's an epic
Maybe
shot,
not.
man.
I
Skyline,
know.
you know?
Yep. It looks like I've been eating a lot of Skyline. All right. Skyline's a chili place we have. So right here, you go over here, you get started here. This is kind of
This is Deal Machine, is that correct?
yeah, this deal machine here.
So what is deal? So if you guys remember what Jirius just talked about before, right? $25, putting stickers on the door, right? That's like hey, you physically going out, putting stickers on the door to be able to drive for dollars, look for off-market properties. But Nate, this is sort of like a virtual version of that, right?
I mean, this here is a data, man. It's gonna give me all the data I need to know who needs to sell the property. I'm not doing all that guessing, man. I'm coming over here and I want to find out who needs to sell their property. Now, I like looking at the real map here. I like looking at satellite. I don't know why. Maybe not. And I'm just gonna go over here to quick filters and I'm gonna go to tired landlords. I want to find tired landlords here. Tired landlords. And so I'm going to go in here. All these people are tired landlords, right? I'm going to come in here. That looks like a piece of land here. This one here, guy's tired, off market. Maybe this guy here, I'd go over here, call him, say, man, are you interested in? He should have a portfolio. I'm looking for somebody that has a portfolio. I want to buy 20 or 30 of these things. Or I could go in here and say, you know what? I want to go find somebody who is behind on their taxes. Let me go find everybody in here that is tax delinquent over here. And when they light up white, that's the tax delinquent ones, right? These are the people that I want to target, tax delinquent. So,
yeah, Diamond, this looks like, is this Florida or Texas you got pulled up? Looks like Texas.
it's San Antonio here.
Yeah.
So,
but Deal Machine works across the country.
Yeah, it works across the country. Let me refresh this so I can see all the tax delinquent ones over here. Should be a bunch of them here. I may be zoomed out too far. So here's tax delinquent here, all these white ones here. Start going here. That's a piece of land. That right there. This isn't really, if I zoom out and find the area here where all the houses are, I'm going to be able to find a whole bunch of these. But I'm looking for people that are telling me, hey, man, I don't want this property, right? And so and you guys can go get a free 1-week trial on this too if you want to try this out. I would wait, if I was you, until Jirius does a demonstration on it. For those of you that want to join, Thursday at 12 o'clock, he does a call every week. He'll show
Eastern.
you. Yeah, and if you come in there, you give him a zip code, you have your camera on, he'll set the appointment for you, and it's up to you to go get that property.
Yeah, he literally just did it like a week or two ago with somebody. Found a property.
He does it every week.
Appointment. Yeah, every week.
Does it every week.
Okay, so Brad is asking, so after renovating a property, you go to the bank with the receipt and they can tell you how much the house went up in value? I hope this is not a dumb question.
No, it's not a dumb question at all, man. After you renovate, before you buy the property, you're going to know what it's going to be worth when you renovate it. You're going to know what your comps are worth. You're going to know what kind of fit and finish they had to do to that property. So you're going to have a roadmap on exactly what kind of fit and finishes are selling in that neighborhood for the highest amount. And you're just going to mimic what they already did. So once you renovate it, you're going to increase the value through the renovations. You have to know what to pay, which this spreadsheet that we got kind of breaks all that down. This is what this is something that we teach over several weeks. This is not a simple spreadsheet, but it simplifies buying. So it's got, step by step. And in here, we know that with all these, this got a bunch of stuff we put on a maker schedule, but these are more, retail costs are 700, So what we would do is we would go back maybe to the owner and say, hey, look, man, this thing's need 135,000 in renovation. Most I can pay you for this property is, um, 28,850, right? Because it needs all these renovations. But if you're vertically integrated and you know how to get these windows done for 400, you get your glass blocks done for, 200. You get your electric and install instead of 14 a foot, you get it for 7. Your plumbing you get for 750 a fixture. Your shingle roof replacement, you're at 300 a square. Your HVAC system, they'll say it doesn't need that. Your concrete, let's say you're getting that for $11 a foot. Your doors are 300. I mean, this is where you're going to increase the value of that property. Landscaping, tree removal might be $3,000. So pressure washing, 500. So all of this stuff, and you come back over here, and if I went through all of that, you would see that, if you got it for 70, you would actually end up probably getting money back. If I went through this whole maker schedule and broke down real numbers versus retail numbers or close to retail numbers.
Nate, can you explain the difference to why you want to buy a property to renovate versus just like a turnkey, which turnkey means I buy a property, maybe put some paint on there, real light cosmetic stuff versus like an actual renovation?
Yeah, because when you renovate a property, you're able to increase value. If you buy a turnkey property, you're saving up your 25% to put down. You're paying retail. Then you're buying somebody else's property, assuming that everything's good, and it's not. A property hasn't been renovated in 10 or 15 years is not going to, you want to get in there and you want to make sure that the things that are going to cause you problems on the rental side are addressed. And if you're buying it and you don't have a budget to do that, then how are you going to pay for those items as they come up? You're going to save up your hard-earned money. You're going to save, 2-3 years for a down payment. And then you're going to buy a property that they say is quote unquote turnkey, but all this stuff may be 20, 30 years old in there. So when we renovate a property, we know exactly the things that we're going to have problems out of. The mechanicals, right? The electric, is the electric good? The roof, is the roof good? The hot water tank, the foundation, the roof, the plumbing is big if it's got cast iron plumbing in it. So all the things that you need to take care of, you're going to be able to do that using the Burr method, and you're going to have like an old property with totally updated inside.
So how about, I'm gonna have a follow-up, right? So I grew up and I love my father to death, but he owned a wrench, 2 screwdrivers, and a rusty hammer, right? So I was never raised with tools or using tools. So what would you, a lot of times people are intimidated by the renovation process because they're not handy or that. So what do you recommend for those situations?
I mean, I'm not handy. I just know how to manage jobs, know how to manage people, treat people fair. Get them paid quickly when they're done with the property. Set expectations. Write a good contract. Make sure they got their workers' comp. Make sure they got they signed a W-9. Make sure that they signed an independent contractor agreement. Make sure that they have their insurance. And make sure at the end of the job that they're signing off a waiver saying that they've been paid, so they can't come back and put a lien on the property. It's really you knowing the scope of the work. When you know the scope of the work, and you have the materials there on site, the contractors can get through that stuff quick. Where I see people mess up is they give somebody, the guy says, well, he's going to do it for 65,000, and then I got to give him 20% down, and now he's not calling me back, and I'm not getting this property done. And it's like, man, you have to kind of be in charge of that process. This is where you're going to build the wealth at. That's when my 17-year-old son is in there ordering windows right now because he needs windows for his property, right? He said, Dad, I can't get them till the 1st. I said, dude, we just bought the property a week ago. We're going to be done with it. You got to get these windows. He drove around in his Toyota Camry today and found 5 of them and fit them in his car and took them to the job. He had 2 on site already. He has to go find 5 more. I said, I don't care what you got to do, Caden, go find them windows, man. They're 28 by 54s. Those are standard sizes. Go find them.
Cash is asking, can anyone name a non-recourse DSCR lender? Have lost deals waiting for multiple lenders to get back to me.
Yeah. Put our link down in there for Adam, man. Anybody that's looking for a good DSCR lender, and he'll be speaking tomorrow to all the Academy members, so you guys get to ask him questions too. Deshaun, if you can jump on that call, man. And I even went into the whole thing about the seasoning and about how we are able to charge a little bit higher on the construction. And I won't get into that, but we will tomorrow.
All right, we'll do a couple more questions if you guys want to just drop it in the chat.
Guys,
Matt
thank
on
you guys so much for hanging out while I have a cigar, man. And it's just my hope that, maybe you get those wheels turning. Some of you guys may be ready to take action now. Some of you guys may say, man, this is what I need. I need somebody that can walk me through this stuff. Some of you guys may be saying, man, I'm skeptical. This sounds too good to be true. Man, go do research. Just Google my name, Google my academy. You'll see the results. We get results because we care about people. We don't just have you in the mentorship and then we're absent. We're there holding your hand, not for 3 months, not for 6 months, not for 2 years, not for 3 years. This is ongoing. Once you're in, you're in. And that's the difference. That's why we've been able to build such a strong community, because we don't nickel and dime people and say, oh, well, we didn't know you wanted to learn this. We're going to charge you this. We say, oh, man, they're struggling with that. Is there something that we can do better to help? We are always updating the academy to make it better, building out spreadsheets, building out vendor lists, pouring back into our communities, so that you guys can go out here and crush it, man. If I told you guys that since we started, I do not have data on this, but I would say it's been over $1 billion that we've been able to help people buy, and they've been people mainly out of the Burnvest group. Over $1 billion in acquisitions, because we got a lot of students, and we got students in there that are crushing it. We got students that have over 100 units. It started with $500. I know Dan Mahoney, I think, just got he just got a building. I don't know if I read that right, but I think he just picked up another 49 units. So, people start to scale and get bigger and bigger too in here. So, and Dan, when he came in, he had $500 to his name. So, you guys just got to do something different with your life, man. Inaction is the most expensive thing that you can do in life. It really is, man. Sitting back thinking that where you're at right now is just going to magically change. Somebody's going to knock at your door. It's not. And there's no politician that's going to get elected that's going to change your life. That's not real, right? You have to be in charge of that. And you can do it, if you're committed to do that. But if you're not, then you're likely going to pass on the struggles that you have to your kids. And that's not cool. It's not states that had the best ROI, guys. It's absolute area, finding that exact zip code, drilling down to the exact street.
Don is asking on Facebook, can we do this work remotely? I live in New York and prices of everything are crazy.
You've seen the New York meetup. There's people up there that are making millions, man. It just comes down to skill set. There's plenty of money to be made in New York. You can do remotely. We got people that are in New York that are buying remotely, but there's plenty of people up there that are making millions of dollars too. Why not you?
Matt on Facebook saying, I have 25K to play with. I own a property on Myrtle Beach right now that I own, but I don't have enough proof of income to get a loan. Should I try to find someone that will do owner financing? What are your thoughts on owner financing? I had a few people asking that earlier in the chat.
Look, I've done owner financing on large apartment complexes, right? Like, there are no rules. Like, learn the Burr method, learn how to create value. I got a lady that 2 deals, same lady. She was an attorney. Her brother's big. Her brother is big. He's a lot bigger than I am in Cincinnati. I don't know how many units he has. I have a couple thousand. He probably has 30 or 40,000. And he does the same thing, the Burr method. He just does it at a larger scale. She's an attorney, and she went out and tried to do it. 96 unit. I ended up doing owner financing on that for $1 million. I put $1.1 million in it and sold it for 3.7. Then she had another deal that I bought from her for 500, and I had to pay $15,000 water bill. I burred that. I got a $2.1 million renovation. I was in it for 700. I only did a 65% loan on it because I wanted to keep my loan balance low because I didn't need the money. I cashed out 1.2. And I pulled 500,000 cash out of that at 1.2, maybe 400 and something. And that property's worth $3 million now, right? So you just hang on to them, man. They go up in value as the rents go up. But she financed that one for me too. I had to put down, I think, 100 grand on it. So yeah, you can. I mean, owner finance is great, but you got to be careful doing that. The sub two stuff, all that stuff has very big risk associated with it, including owner financing. So what we did on her with owner financing was we had her hold the mortgage. We had her become the mortgage company. We took title. So owner financing, if the owner goes bankrupt, man, you can get wiped out everything that you did in there. Same with sub two.
The iPhone user kind of follow up on the Tampa question is how do you find that right zip code, right? So beyond just like the state, what type of zip codes, how are you looking for that?
Man, it's data driven. We go into kind of like a whole 2 weeks teaching on that. This is like you're buying the future. We want you to understand how the banking system works. We want you to understand like how the economy works. Most people that went to school for economics don't even know how money works, right? And so you got to understand all this so that you can put yourself at an advantage and understand the moves that you have to make. Once you start to understand that stuff, then you can understand why the banks would loan you money. The banks go out of business if they don't loan you money, right? That's their job. And so you need to know how to present to the banks. You need to know to say, hey, guys, look, I'm buying this area because right now, here's all the jobs that are coming into this area, and here's where we forecast the rent growth going. Here's where we forecast the appreciation growing. And if you come in and you do that on a single family level, and you say, we got a 1.24 debt service coverage ratio. Here's our expenses. Here's our renovation budget. I mean, here's how much we renovated here. I mean, they're going to say, dude, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, hey, hey, man, how many of these can you do? Because they have to get loans out. Do you guys know that the banks do what's called fractional reserve banking? Anybody in here, you guys understand what fractional reserve banking is? So if you put 10,000 in the bank, through the way that the banking system's all set up through the Federal Reserve, they're all kind of tied together. They can loan out up to $100,000 off that 10 grand. And so when you put money deposits in there, you give them ability to loan out money. Now, back in COVID, they took away the 10X and just said, man, just loan money out. So, I mean, the banks can make money out of thin air and loan it out to you. So we essentially doing a burr, we do the same thing. We create money out of thin air and we leave the banks with the only one in any position holding paper. Any bankers on here? Because bankers don't even know that. I talk to a lot of the branch managers a lot of time, and I'm just shocked at how much they don't know.
Nicholas is asking, but if you have the 10K in the bank, do they not base that on credit?
Well, if you're dealing with a traditional bank, if you're dealing with a hard money, if you're dealing with a hard money guy, he may not. Now, our DSCR lenders are going to require you to have some credit because they're going to take this paper, they're going to create the loan, they're going to create 20, 30, $50 million worth of it, and then they're going to go sell it off into the market where all the buyers are buying this note. The big Wall Street guys are buying all this paper.
Sherry says, is there any risk that they could call the loan later?
You got to read your document. Banks aren't in the business to call your loan. That's Dave Ramsey creating fear, right? They called his loans because he did bad loans. I mean, if you do bad loans and they say, hey, your money's going to be due in 90 days, well, believe them. Believe them, right? But understand what you're getting into. If they can call your loan, if it says they can call your loan because you got behind or because it's vacant and it's underperforming, there are things in there that they probably could call your loan on. But those are things that are likely going to be in your control. The banks they're not into property managing. They're not doing that. If the banks come in and they call everybody's loans, what the heck are the banks going to do with all these properties? They're going to sit there and go down in value. They need you operating this property, generating cash flow. There's no way for banks to manage all these properties out here. They'd rather just make money out of thin air and loan it to you.
Kind of following that same theme, Brad is asking, is it best to pay cash for an old home to rent it out or get a mortgage?
Well, I mean, it depends on your circumstance, but let's just look and see real quick. So let's say that let's go look at the math real quick. So let's say that you come in and you buy an area that's going up 5% a year in value. Let's just say you buy a house for 100,000 cash, right? Take this $100,000 cash and you buy a property, and this property is bringing in an 8% return. It's what you're going to make every year off your property. Let's say it's going up 5% in value every year. You're hold on a second. You're making $13,000 a year on your 100,000, which is a 13% return. But let's say that you go take that 100,000 and you go leverage a $500,000 worth of real estate, You're buying at is bringing in 8% return. That's 40,000. Let's say you borrowed 400,000 from the bank at 6.5%. That's 26,000. 40,000 minus 26,000 is 14,000, right? Plus, what the heck is that? Is that me doing that? So you got 14,000 plus you got a half a million going up 5% a year, which is 25 grand. Right? You're making 39% on your money. So, but you got to understand how to set aside reserves. You got to understand how to manage. You got to understand the construction. You got to understand what items are going to break. Once you understand all this, it is like unlimited money glitch. Just do it over and over. But what we do isn't a 39% return. What we teach people how to do is called an infinite return, because you have no money in the deal. You have no money in the deal. You're using your deal to get more properties, owning assets that are likely to go up in value while the dollar continues to get weaker, while rents continue to climb. You're in a great situation.
AO is saying on Facebook, thank you. Can't wait to get elbows deep in this. So much valuable info.
Guys, look, man. I'm telling you, man, it's here. It's written out for you. We have a plan. We have support. You know, if you guys want to hear more about our mentorship, you know, I'd love to get you on a call and hear your goals. And we'll let you know, honestly, if it's something we can help you with. And if it's not, we'll let you know. We're not the right one for you. We had somebody last week, and I said, nah, man, that's not what we do. We are very laser focused on what we do. And, you know, we're here to help people who need help and want to get started and want a different life for their family. So if you want, just comment mentor below if you haven't already. And, we'll get somebody on the call with you guys.
Aaron's asking, what's the best type of property to start with for your first property?
Probably a property that's built after 1980, this drywall that has PVC plumbing, that just needs a cosmetic. You just need to put new cabinets in. You need new flooring, maybe a roof, maybe update the windows outside, not something that you're completely gutting. That's going to be for somebody that has more experience. You'll get there after about 5 or 6 properties. You'll start to understand the things that it takes. Your profit margins usually go up on them heavier lift deals. And, you know, but it's a lot more work and you got to have better systems in place.
Julie's asking, do you have HML lists?
We have a lender in here that does DSCR. There are people in our academy that lend to each other, that partner with each other. We do have a guy in our academy that it works at a family office, and they set aside like $20 million to loan to people, and they'll do up to 100%. Deshaun, have you borrowed any money from him yet? Deshaun, you on mute?
Not yet.
Yep.
Yeah,
he
but
doesn't. Yeah, go ahead.
we had a chance to talk Monday, and we're going to get together because we're actually looking at a few portfolio deals.
When you're taking that one down that we went through the other day, man.
My partner is shaky. That's one of the things when partnering with someone that's not with the same mindset is very difficult.
Why don't you just partner with me, man? Let's take it down. Let's do it.
Okay.
I mean, if he doesn't
Yeah,
want to
let's
do
talk
it,
Friday.
if he doesn't want to do it, man, we'll do it, man. Let's get your kids involved, man. I'll put the money up, get the kids out to do the renovation, man. I mean, you're buying it right. You're still on the property.
Yeah, it's a real good deal.
So let me know, man. I got capital.
All right, I appreciate you. Yeah,
But
I'll talk
more
to
than
you Friday.
anything, I'll only do it with you if you're gonna have them kids over there learning this stuff, man.
Oh, you know I'm all about that.
And get them. Let's give them some equity, man.
Yeah, you know I'm all about that.
Yep. All right. Well, let me know, brother.
Okay, man, I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was cool. Okay, TT says, how do I prep DSCR paperwork to show them it's a money-making property? What credit should we have to get one?
I mean, you really need a 680. They'll go lower, but if you're a 640, let's work on your credit. Let's get your credit up. It's not that hard to get your credit up a lot of times. Let's get you up to that 680. They'll go down 640, but your rate's going to be higher, and you're going to hit challenges on a refi. Let's just work on getting that credit up. Might take you 3, might take you 6 months, might take you 9 months. It doesn't matter. In that process, you should be learning. You're learning, right? I don't expect you to come in day one. In 90 days, we can have you skilled up with all this information. If you get in here and you absorb it, and one day it'll just click for you. You'll be like, oh, I get it. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, because the kids is what it's about. I tell people, like, look, man, when they join the academy, like, man, I'm not after you, man, for real. I'm after changing your kid's life. I got to do it through you. I'm after changing because why do we have generational poverty in this country? Man, I watch my family work, man. I come from generational poverty, man, where they work 40, 50 hours a week and they end up dead with not even enough money to bury themselves. Talking about, man, I got to get cremated. Like, come on, man. Why? It's not because they didn't work hard. It's because they didn't know the financial system. They were out here playing shoots and ladders on a Monopoly board.
Yeah, I read a statistic just the other day, an article, Nate, and they said the average lifespan of an American is anywhere between like 73 and 76 years old.
And they said if you play tennis, you live 10.6 years longer. So when you get 72, start playing tennis. You'll live till you're 82, right?
I don't know if that's scientific. I don't know. We might have to fact check that one.
No, 10.6 years longer is what you get.
I know, but starting at 72, though, I'm saying like that might be a little bit.
Nah, I know. It's a loophole though. Maybe it works, maybe it don't. So
maybe it works. Nicholas is asking, so if you're starting with nothing, no down payment, no assets, how do you do this? I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Man, jump on a call and learn how to find value for somebody that's doing it. Find them properties. After you do 2, 3 properties and you wholesale them, and you make, 10, 20, 30,000 off each one. You come into the guy and say, hey, man, look, I got this property. It's a good deal, but I really want to get some equity in it. Can I bring the deal? You give me a little bit of equity. I want to be a little bit more involved in the deal. And that's what we have people in the academy. Once you get skilled up, there are people that'll give you the money. There are people that, like the person said earlier in New York, like, man, I want to do this offsite. Well, when you're in the academy, you find people who are crushing it, who you're like, you know what? This person's committed. They're on all the calls. They're a go-getter. And you find someone to partner with, right? And that's where you find your network at.
iPhone saying, any advice for a 23-year-old subcontractor who's looking to buy his first house with no capital? Capital?
I wish Danny Estep was on here. Danny was a 23-year-old HVAC guy. He joined our academy when he was 22. He was around, he was taking notes for about a year, maybe not even a year, maybe 6 months. Then he met 2 other people in the academy who ended up partnering with him. He quit his job and they just flipped the house. Hey, Deshaun, do you know the numbers on that house they flipped the other day? This one right here. Go see what he paid for that, man. 3238 Brader Avenue. Let me go see what they paid for that. Hold on. Let me share my screen here.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm at the 3238 Brader Avenue here. Hold on. So let's see what he paid for that. 3238 Brader. Is he on here?
Danny?
Yeah, he ain't on here right now.
I don't see him on here right
Let's
now.
see what he paid for this. And he just got it on a contract for 5,000 over. He paid 100 grand for it, and they flipped it for 220. So I'm gonna say he's probably all in it for 160, 170 with holding costs. They'll make 30, 40 grand off of it. Let's see what kind of renovations he did. Did a nice job. Did a new roof, new windows, new handrail. Detailed the steps out. Detailed all this. Little mulch beds. Put the rocks out here. Uh, Really nice inside. Let's see if we have any mechanical pictures here. No mechanicals. I mean, did a good job on this, man. Did the corner sink here. Looks like he put in them 2 windows. Nice backsplash. Um, nice bathroom. Really nice bathroom. So it sold for 5,000. It went pending 5,000 over a list in like a day or two.
Yeah, his
So,
bathrooms are always like
yeah.
pristine.
Yep. So, a nice job on this here. Put a little fire pit in out here. I don't know why he did that. Probably. Look at this though. Look at this. He still had lumber out back and sold it with the lumber out back. I wonder if that comes with the house. No mechanicals.
Greg Burks on Facebook, he's in the academy. He said, I had no capital, but the investor that I worked with saw my worth and stepped up.
And he got his first deal. He's making over 100 grand on that, man. Good job on that. Good job on that, Greg. He's our Indy president. He's the president of Indianapolis. So, hey, Greg, you coming to the Bird 360 conference, man? Please come, man. I got something special, man, for all the I got something really special, man, for all the city presidents, man.
Jesus says one of the worst things that can happen to an investor is getting caught by the building department doing work without permits. How do you deal with permits? In some cities, it takes forever.
Well, I mean, through the academy, man, there's a lot of people in there you can partner with that have their GC license and know how to get it. Like, I got one today. I called my buddy. I'm paying him $1,000. He's going to pull the plumbing permit. I got my hourly guys coming over to do the plumbing, and he's going to come inspect it. So you don't have to be a master plumber to do the plumbing. You just have to have a master plumber there making sure that it's done right before you call the a building department. So for that job there, I'll pay him $1,000. My guys meet me in the morning. I'll do a live in the morning on that. He'll probably be 2 days replumbing that. This is one of my hourly guys. He's like, probably cost me $40 an hour with benefits. And then the other guy he's going to bring cost me about 30 an hour. So I'm 70 an hour times probably take him 16 hours to do. So what's that? So that's 1,300. I probably got another 1,000 in materials, another 500. It's going to cost me 3,500 to do all the plumbing. If I call a plumber up to do that, plumber's going to want 750 a fixture times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fixtures. So it's going to be 6,000. Right. So, and plus, it ain't even about, I don't even care about the 5,000 or 6,000. I care about getting it done quick. I need it done because it's holding up my project or my son's project.
Kirk on Facebook said, would love to get a sense of your mentorship and see if it's for me.
Yeah, man. Would love to get you on. Somebody reach out to him. So,
yep. We'll send you a message on Facebook, Kirk. Got you back there. So Wenna says, how do you know if you need to pull a permit?
Well, these are the things that you should know before you buy a property. Like today we walked through the inspector, the building inspector, and said, hey, man, we got it demoed. Just want to let you know, here's what we're doing. He came in and we brought him through. We said, do we need to do any drawings? Because they say you got to do drawings and you can get them to come out and walk your property. And then you can do a permits with no drawing. He gives you the paper. It says permits with no drawings needed. Then all he's going to do is come back and inspect the health and safety. Make sure that the insulation, if you open up any walls, fire blocking's done. And then, the plumbing department is going to do their own inspections and electric's going to do their own inspections. He's going to see that the electric is signed off on, the plumbing is signed off on, and he's going to be the final guy that comes in. If we did any HVAC, we didn't have to on this property. So it's a process. It's a procedure. But it's nothing that's really complicated that you couldn't do.
All right, we'll do a couple more questions. LaFleur,
You said that 40 minutes ago, but I'm cool because
you still got a little bit left in the cigar. That's really usually our timer here. LaFleur is asking,
this
what do you
this
think?
is a good one here, man. It's a
What
it's
kind
like
is it?
$100 cigar my buddy gave me. Comes in this glass case here. Ray, man, I'm gonna have to get you some of these, man, for the cruise. I'll bring you one, man. It's probably the best cigar I ever had. It's a Plasencia uh Alma Del Fuego. I know I messed that up. I'm good in math, not spelling.
Sounds like a very fancy name, actually. So, LaFleur is asking, what do you think about trailer homes? Do they cash flow well, and are they a good investment?
We're after appreciation. Trailer homes don't go up in value. Now, if you're buying a trailer park and you're buying it because you can move the lot rents up, that's different. Trailer homes, though, you can get big depreciation year one, because you can get a big depreciation on them year one a lot of times, because a lot of the trailer components are year one year one depreciation. But no, I wouldn't scale buying trailers. I just wouldn't do it.
How about lots and land? Sherry's asking.
I mean, what are you going to do with the lots and land? It just depends on what you're going to do with it. You know, if you can go get it rezoned and you can get it turned into something different, then cool. But land sits there, so you need cash to sit on land a lot of times. So land is something you get into once you start making a lot of money. You're like, man, I'll grab that piece of land over there, hang on to it. But that ain't something that I would really start doing unless you really know how to develop. And development. The problem is when you go into a recession, that lot could just be sitting there for a decade, right? Where a property, you go into a recession, hey, you just renting it out, man. I'm waiting through. I'm waiting a recession through. Rents typically don't go down in recessions. And so we got a chart that we looked at. They don't really go down. People lose their houses and they're forced to rent. So it causes more demand and more pressure on the rental markets a lot of times, which causes more demand, causes increased prices. If you buy in the right area.
TT's saying, I'm trying to convince senior planner out here to give me authority for low income tiny home communities in San Diego where people are hurting. They can waive a ton of fees.
Yeah. So what's your question, brother?
I don't know if there was a question. It might be a statement. Let us know if there's a question on top of that, TT.
Yeah. Nah, TT, a lot of that's going to be needed, man. There's a huge shortage right now. We have 80 million millennials who haven't quite got their houses yet. And we have Gen Z, which is between, I think, 11 and 26 or 11 and 27. They're just coming into the market. They'll be coming into the market for the next, 15 years, 20 years. And there's 80 million of them too. That's more than there were baby boomers. There were only 78 million baby boomers.
What do you think
Put that
about
in
interest rates? Oh, go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, interest rates are great, man. Like interest rates, when they go up, you can get better deals. So when interest rates were really down, people were overpaying for property and it was hard because money was easy to get. Now that interest rates have come back up, man, there's a lot more property out here to be had by people that understand how to buy. Anybody can buy when interest rates are 2 or 3% and kill it. But when the saying is, we'll see who's been swimming naked when the wave goes back out and exposes everybody. So there's a lot of people that are swimming naked right now because they bought wrong. They didn't know what they were doing. Authorization. Yeah, good job on that, TT, man. There's a huge need for that. There's a huge need for that all over the country.
I've actually never heard that ocean illustration, so learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Sherry asks, what's the average close time in Cincinnati?
I mean, it's going to depend on the it's going to depend on the market. Some markets are still red hot. You're seeing things go on under contract in 5 to 7 days. Other properties are sitting for 60 or 90. It just depends on the neighborhood, really.
360 Pro Services on YouTube is asking, what is a good rate on return when you are financing a rental property?
You looking cash on cash, or what kind of rate are you looking for? I'm looking for overall return. If I could buy a property for 200,000 and it's going to be worth $400,000 in 5 years, I could care less about the cash flow, right? So it's all, and people say, well, it's speculation that it's going to go up. Well, it's somewhat speculative, but we can dig into the numbers and we can see where the housing market's likely to go based off the data that we use. And so we could say, well, it's speculation that they're going to pay your rent next month too, right?
We have a question on Instagram. They're asking, I inherited my grandparents' house in the hood. Some houses are getting flipped. Should I wait until the whole neighborhood is flipped or put money into it now?
I mean, it depends. Can you hit a debt service coverage ratio? Where is that neighborhood going to be worth in the future? You know, what's causing people to come in there and flip? Is it a shortage of housing in that city overall? So now they're starting to come in and gentrify the hood? Or is there a new highway there? Is there a stadium? Like, what's driving them to that neighborhood? You got to figure that out first. Who are your buyers? Who's your avatar? Once you figure out who your avatar is, you know, you're likely to know what is, I mean, you got to figure out what's going to happen in the future right there. So what city are you in and what zip code are you in?
Lewis is following up on another question. What is a tired landlord's meaning? Are they ready to get rid of their houses?
Tired
or?
landlords basically means that this person's owned it over 15 years. So that's a tired landlord. Most of the time when you get into buying property and you learn how to scale properly, you're not going to hang on to that asset for 15 years. You're going to get out of it and you're going to scale to bigger properties. So if you've been holding that property 17, 18, 20 years, now I got properties I've been holding that long and I'm not tired. I'm fat, but I'm not tired. But, you know, tired landlord just means that, you know, you've been hanging on to the property for a long time. And then what happens is we can go look on the map and we can say tired landlord. We can look at the property like, man, the gutter's falling off. The guy didn't know how to buy. He was one of these guys who thought you buy the property and you pay it down, which is all wrong, which is wrong because you're working hard your whole life to try to outrun the capital repairs on that property. The capital repairs are going to catch up to you. And if you don't keep that property optimized, it's like going to McDonald's and you feel like you're in Burger King's line. And, you know, it's slow. You're like, dude, Burger King may have better burgers, but I don't want to go there. Why? Because they're going to mess my order up. You know, I asked them for, you know, a cheeseburger and they give me a fish sandwich or whatever, right? You go to McDonald's, it's consistent. You know, they have systems and processes built out. So that's what a really good landlord is. Boom, 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 boom. They know exactly what they're doing and they know exactly where they're going. And that's what we can help you guys with. Because I've been there. I've done over $500 million worth of real estate. Not as an agent. I'm not an agent, guys. I am an investor. I've only invested.
Keith is asking on Facebook, is it worth it to use your 0% interest credit card as a down payment?
Yeah, I mean, if you got like 1 month left, no, because then it's going to jump up to 22%. But if you got 12 months and you have a clear path on how you're going to get your money back, yes.
TT in the Zoom is asking, my question was, how do I prep DSCR paperwork to score them? It's a money-making property. What credit score we should have to get one? Can I outweigh lower credit with higher business income?
Nah, man, they're going to be they selling this paper off. So they selling this paper off. And what they're going to be looking for, if we go over here to this calculator that we got, this thing will show this property has a 1.3 debt service coverage ratio. We actually have this where this all prints out into a sheet here. It'll show your operating expenses here, your taxes monthly, insurance monthly, your maintenance, your gas, your electric, your property management fee set at 7%, your turnovers, your advertising, your landscape, and we break it all down. This property costs $6,492 a year to maintain. And then if we go over here, we see our monthly rents, $1,900 at 94% occupancy, $21,432 a year minus $16,492. Give me $14,940 for NOI. And my debt payment's $11,000, leaving me a 1.3 debt service coverage ratio. They're going to love that. They're going to love that. They may say, hey, man, you can go up to, you know, but the big money to be made on this property is right here. let's say year 5 you come in and you do, let's say you can get 80% refi out. And let's say, because rates drop to, 5.75%. Now watch this here. Your loan balance 141, you're able to cash out $54,000 there, right? This is what we're after here. And do this times 20 or 20 properties, you got $1 million cash out. And then the thing's just going to keep going up in value if you bought in the right area. Year 10 is worth 312. Look at your debt service coverage ratio over here, year 5. You're still hitting a 1.34. It was a 1.53, but you pulled the new cash out as a 1.34, but it's growing. Rent's growing by 4 or 5% a year. Expenses are growing by 5% a year. Buying the right areas is where the wealth is made. Let's say I wanted to come in, just say, you know what, I'm going to wait till year 7 to do a cash out refi. Now I'm pulling 74,000 out. Let's say I waited till year 10, which I wouldn't do. You're pulling 108,000 out. You got 30 of these things, that's 3 million cash out. And the property is going to pay for it. It's still hitting a 1.34 debt service coverage ratio year 10, meaning that whatever you're paying the bank, your monthly mortgage payment, 1460.57. Let's go do the math real quick. 1460.57. 1460.57 times 12, meaning your monthly cash flow is going to be 34% of this. 34% after you pull millions of dollars cash out. That's your monthly cash flow. You got 30 of these properties. Look, you're still making $178,000 a year, and you pulled $1 million cash out, and you still got well over, let's see how much equity you're going to leave in this property. Your new loan is going to be for 250, but the property's worth 312. So you got 62,000 times 30, 60. You still got $1.8 million. 62,000 times 30. You still got $1.8 million, 6 in equity, and you pulled $1 million cash out, over $1 million cash out. This stuff's not super complicated. It's just procedural. There's like this story, man, where this guy, he shows up and they voted him least likely to succeed when he was in high school, and he lands at the class reunion in a helicopter, and they say, "Man, what did you do?" He said, "Well, I just bought things for $1 and sold them for $2." And it's like, "What else?" And he was like, "That's it." Right? Don't overcomplicate it, man. It's not that complicated. It's not. It's just math. We're talking about simple math here too. We're not talking about algebra. We're talking about addition, subtraction. We're talking about the stuff you should have learned through the 5th grade.
TT's just following up on what you just said. So just show them an Excel spreadsheet with accurate info.
I mean, show them we got pro formas. You can build out how the property is going to perform. Where did you get your rent comps at? Where did you get your values at? Now, of course, they're going to bring an appraiser out, and that's where you want to kind of talk to the appraiser, say, "Hey, look, man, I kind of appreciate you meeting me out here. Here's some comps that I pulled up, and these are the ones that I found," right? And a lot of times what they'll tell me, whether they did or not, they'll say, "Oh yeah, man, them are the ones I got in my report." Why? He don't feel like doing no work. He looks at your comps. He feels like they're good comps. He's going to put them in his report. And then you say, "Hey, here's the rents that I pulled in area 2. We got this thing called Rent-A-Meter. Rent-A-Meter will go in and it'll print out an Excel spreadsheet and tell you what everything's renting for and how far from the subject property it's from." Have your systems and processes together, man. You're going to get money from somebody. Know what you're doing.
Diego on Facebook is asking, how do you protect your money for a recession?
When you say protect it, like, I don't understand what you mean protect it. Like, you got over $250,000. You want to put it in separate bank accounts. You want to put it in separate banks. You want to have separate, if you think a bank's going to collapse, like, I don't know which kind of protection you're looking for. Could you be a little more specific? Like, you got money under your mattress. That might be a different answer than if you got money, like, who are you trying to protect it from?
Oh my goodness. We'll wait for Diego to comment back. Lewis in the Zoom is asking, is a license needed to wholesale?
That's a complicated question. that jurists can answer better. There are states that have put in rules to try to keep you from wholesaling, but there are always ways around the rule. Like there are things you can do. You can assign contracts. I mean, there's different strategies. It's not illegal in Ohio. Like, you know, we're in a primarily still kind of a red state. And so they give us a little bit more less protection for people where we can just go out here and do stuff. But like Chicago, yeah, man, it was like, you can't wholesale. Like, why not? And no, you can't. But there are ways to get around that. You know, I don't know all the specific ways. And there's, you know, listen, man, everything in life, there's always problems. Who cares about problems? Like, there's also 100 solutions to every problem.
Julie in Zoom is asking, how do you screen to find a good tenant on your first property, if not yet using a property management service?
So we have a software company that we recommend to our students. And you know, they go in there and they run everything for you. So they'll run the tenant. Zillow now I think offers that service too. Zillow will do everything manually over, you know, they'll vet the person, they'll run their credit. That's all built in. So there's all kinds of automation that you can build around that, but do not like people will target landlords like, oh, I'm renting from the actual person that owns it. They'll target you because there are people that know how to take advantage of that. So be very careful. There goes applyconnect.com. What does that do, Donald? Do you know exactly what Apply Connect does?
Yeah, so it's they provide credit checks for rental applications, and then you don't pay anything. They just charge the person applying for it. So obviously, like Nate said, you can use Zillow, or that's a partner that we found for our community as well, to apply for those things. Yeah, I mean, Nate and Jarius always talk about it. Like even Jarius, right? When he comes and does like a walkthrough, you know, he's not telling people that he is the owner. He's just saying like, hey, I'm property management. I'm a maintenance person. Like he's not revealing that information. So
now I ain't gonna believe he no maintenance guy. Nah, he can't tell him that. So, you know, let's do one more question, man. Hey, I appreciate all you guys hanging on here, man. Have you guys learned a lot? Anybody? Have you guys learned a lot? TT, awesome, man. That's
Yep.
what we want to do. We just want to enhance your life, man, and let you know that there is another way out of working. You don't have to work your life away, man. You can get these properties up and running. You can hire a property manager to run them for you. You can build out systems and processes. You can go around the country with your family. You can enjoy life. The thing that I would tell first off is that first thing that we work on in my mentorship is mindset. There's so many people that they have an expectation that if they put this much effort for it, they're going to get this much result. That's a worker type mentality, right? Workers are like, oh, if I do this much work, I'm going to get this much money. Like entrepreneurship, buying properties isn't like that. It's like you may put forth a lot of effort and not get anything. But then that one little hour that you put in, you may make 20 grand, right? So this is not something that you need to have an expectation on. Well, I'm going to try it. It's like, no, you're either going to do it or you're not, and you're going to stick to it. One of the biggest things I see with people that fail is that they will constantly start over on something else when something gets hard. Push through it when it's hard. That means that you're getting to a point where it's, hey, you're getting to the breaking point. You're about to break through, man. Like you ever seen the Kool-Aid man crash through the wall? You think he hit that wall, it got a little harder, but he just kept pushing and the wall broke through, right? So you got to keep pushing. You got to have a mindset like, hey, man, what is your why? Why are you doing this? And you got to stay focused on that. Because, man, I used to cry. It was hard, man. I used to bang my head up against the glass in my car because I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know all the stuff that I just told you guys I didn't know. Imagine I'm just going out here with no compass, just trying to figure something out. And, you know, but I just know that I didn't have any other options. It was real estate or my family goes hungry and homeless, or I could go back to the streets, but I wasn't doing that. So I just knew that this was the way, and it wasn't easy, but once I broke through, it was worth it. And now, life is great, man. It's great. And I'm not gonna say it wasn't great back then because I went to prison. So when you comparing like hard times, like prison, like when you're in solitary confinement or something, and people are like, oh man, you don't understand. It's hard to find a contractor. I'm like, man, what have you been through in life, man? Like, let's talk about what you've been through in life. Have you been through anything hard? And that's where in America, man, we got to be tougher than that, man. Like we so ready to give up about like something. And then I hear people all the time talking about, man, oh man, the Hispanics are taking the jobs. Like, man, you ain't even want to work, right? Man, they ain't here wanting to work for their family. We got to get back to that grassroots of what America is really about. It's about opportunity. And you see people over here coming in crushing it because they willing to put the time and effort in. And then you see so many people that are just sitting back complaining about they ain't getting nothing. Like you ain't getting nothing because you're too busy complaining. Like, man, capitalism is the greatest wealth building tool we've ever seen in the world. And the people that complain about other people getting money, man, get them out of your life, man. I ain't saying you got to disown them, but you can't have them around you because they're going to pull you down. As soon as you buy a property and something go wrong, I told you not to do that. You don't need them people around. You need somebody like, hey, man, what'd you learn from it? Man, great. What did you learn from it? Right? That's what you need. You need those type of people around you. Those people are already successful, and they know that that's part of the journey. The journey to success has failure in it. And if you're willing to go through failure and pick yourself back up and go, what I can do is help you avoid a ton of mistakes. I can take and fast forward you in a mentorship. What's going to take you 30 to 40 years to learn if you're lucky, and I can give it to you right now. Or you can go out here and you can go learn this stuff on your own. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. You need somebody to hold your hand through this process. When you're failing, when you're having a problem, you need a sounding board. You need to say, hey, man, hey, here's the problem I'm having. Like there was a guy, septic tank, the other day. Man, they want 20,000. I said, man, go post it in the group, man. I'm going to tag. I know who knows about septic tanks. And I don't know. I didn't check because he came and spent Sunday with me. He was from Orlando. He's in the academy. And he's in the Columbus. I said, hey, man, anybody that wants to come out Monday and meet at this property, walk through. He said, I'm in Columbus, but he said, man, I wish I was going to be in town. I said, look, me and my son going down to the property Sunday. You want to join us? And he came and spent about 7-8 hours with us. And like, I hope that Jay, I don't know if he's on here, but I hope your life was changed, because seeing the stuff in progress and understanding that, look, man, you ain't got to go work for somebody for $70,000 or $80,000 a year for the rest of your life and get a 3% raise when inflation's 5%. That don't make any sense, man. Right? So there's a reason why we get results in our mentorship. It's because we don't give up on our students, even if they give up. We chase them down. What you doing, man? Get back in. Come on. Well, this and that. Hey, that's okay. Come on, man. Get back over here. And then we build a team, a community of support. And so if you need support, man, you guys are tired of failing, tired of going out here working every day, life's not likely to change, man, just get on a call. It don't cost you nothing to get on a call with us. And if you're willing to put the effort forth, I can tell you that your life will change. I can't tell you when. It may take you a year to get your first deal. It may take you like Greg Burks over 2 years to get his first deal. But his first deal, he's making $100,000, over $100,000 off of. We've had other people like Trey Michael got in. Trey got in because he had said something in a Burr Invest group, the bigger group, and he said, he wanted to make $150,000 a month. And, people were saying, oh, you can't do that, young kid, blah, blah, blah. And I told Matt, I said, Matt, get that guy on the phone with me, man. And I talked to him. I was down in Austin, Texas. I said, tell me about what you're doing, man. He was like 26. Man, he has over $10 million worth of property right now.
Yeah.
And I seen him at the last Bird 360. And I said, are you at your 150 yet? He said, nah, I'm at 68,000 a month. Right? And I said, you still shooting for 150,000 a month? He said, nah, 450,000. Right? Why put limitations on your dream? His name's Trey Michael. Look him up, man. And he'll be I hope he'll be at the Birth 360, right? And that's just what knowledge can do for you when you execute. And not everybody's journey is going to be as easy as other people's on the surface. But what you got to realize, everybody has a struggle. Don't be envious or think, man, this person's crushing it. You don't know what that person been through. Like if you see me and you see what I got, that's great. But you don't know I've been to prison twice. You don't know I was sent to a children's home. You don't know I was an alcoholic. You don't know I sold drugs. You don't know I went bankrupt. All you see is the Lambos, the Bentleys, look, that stuff came with me learning the stuff that I'm telling you guys, right? And so that stuff is cool, but it's meaningless, man. What's meaningful to me is seeing you guys change your future and your kids' future. That's what's really life is about, man. So with that, man, look, thank you guys. It was supposed to be an hour and a half. We've been in here a long time, man. Hey, I smoked 2 cigars, man. Y'all had me, but that's what I enjoy. Tomorrow, I got my class with my students. I'm gonna be down at the property. I'm gonna have my son doing this stuff, man. Now I got him doing it, man. That feels great. He thinking about dropping out of high school. He got 1 class left. He was on honors, and I'm like, does it even matter if he gets his diploma? Like, what can you do with a diploma? Well, don't. You got to get your diploma. McDonald's won't hire you. Good, right? I'm not saying to drop out of school, but I'm just saying, like, man, when we start thinking about the way school conditions us and sit down, you can't do that. You can't do this. Like, they're conditioning us to be employees. And then when you go to college, they make you take 2 years worth of high school over again. And they charge you $20,000, $30,000 for that. It's ridiculous, man. They're called electives. I didn't even know about this until I was mentoring some young kids. And I was like, what are you doing? They was like, well, we got to take our electives. I said, what's that? Oh, we got to refresh our science and all this stuff we learned in high school. What for? Let's jump in. Let's learn to make some money. Wasting your time away, man. So, man, I appreciate you guys staying on here so long with me, man. It's been great. I got to get in here and see the wife, though, and get me another water. Love you guys, man. Hope to see you guys again next week, and hope to see you on Jarius's call. And man, let's go out here and crush it tomorrow. Think about what you want out of your future. Join me on here next Tuesday, every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We got Labor Day coming up. 19 years ago today, I met the most amazing woman in the world, man. Is my wife. And she helped me when I was struggling with alcoholism, helped me get sober. She was by my side when I went bankrupt. And she didn't care about none of that. And so if you have somebody that has a dream, and just support them. Because especially like for men, like we'll go as far as our wife believes we can go, right? Now, I can't say about men, but I'm just telling you from a man's standpoint, if we know our woman's like, you can do it, honey. Like, dang, really? She believe in me? So, just go out here and be encouraging to one another. Man, I love you guys, man. Hey, Thursday, 12 o'clock, we'll see you guys on there. Again, man, if you need some trainings, just say trainings below. Let us know what they are. We got a bunch of them out here. We got DSCR calculators, all this stuff so you can understand that stuff, man. Love you guys. I'll see y'all. I'll probably be on Jarius's Thursday live too. But if I don't see you, I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Y'all have an amazing week. Later.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Donald.